This podcast features adult content not suitable for listeners under the age of 18. You have been warned.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Back to the Story, where friends come together to play Dungeons and Dragons. I'll be your DM, Klaus. Let's get started.
Alright, so diving back into the game, we're going to start off with the recap. Chapter 3, At All Cost. Embershore, Severwind, 9th to 15th Long Night, 3rd Era, year 627. First off, I already said it to the players, but we have another player, George. We'll see where he comes in just a bit. But for now, previously, after fighting your way out of the Gullah Pit, you've come to the surface in the snow-covered forest. The bodies of Ball and Vesper lying in the snow, as Amson pulls another patch revealing a horse who he rides with Vesper over the back to Stonehill Abbey. Opening the doors, he sees Varys, showing him the fallen body of his daughter Vesper. First shock, then anger, as Varys tries to revivify her to no avail, before carrying her into the city. Amson finds a cart nearby and gets aid from a Covenant gate guard, going back to find his friends who have been trying to drag the heavy body of Ball through the thick snow. They pile Ball into the cart, with Ellery riding the horse into the city. Asking around, they hear that Varys and Lysander, the fathers of Vesper, were seen heading to the docks. Coming upon the Adisic harbor, the temple to Voltimeri, the goddess of storm and sea, they see it is crowded with raiders, as well as Vesper and her parents. Lysander offers his old wedding ring for the ritual, as performed by Stormdreamer the Salted, the tiefling priestess of Voltimeri. Kalvyn, Amson, and Ellery make their offerings as a storm forms and lightning strikes, bringing Vesper back from the other side. Soon after, Ball is moved out, but none have a diamond to pay his way. Eventually, the raider leader, King Kald, comes forth seeing Ball, thinking he wants to speak to Ball first, and so through Stormdreamer and Voltimeri's will, he asks if Ball will carry a message in the form of an axe. Ball agrees, and so King Kald puts up the cost, digging out a diamond bracelet from a chest of many valuables and jewelry. Using the bracelet, Garrus Nihilus offers a sea serpent, and Rudolph, a childhood friend, offers what few coins he has, as the storm begins to rumble. Vesper, Amson, and Ellery make their offerings to the ritual in the rain as the rumble deafens the crowd. Ball breathes in his first breath of a second life. After this, you all spent the next week or so recovering with some much-needed downtime. Now, this is where we'll pick up. We'll skip Ball for now. Vesper, you were attempting to head to the cellar.
Yes, I'm going to the Marble Winery.
Okay, so you get all dressed up. Ellery, I think, put some lockpicks in your hair. As you move towards the Marble Winery, where you get there, you've communicated with the merchants before, who, once you're there, and it's full of fairly well-dressed people, mostly merchants, traders, and you're blindfolded, and you're taking through a creaked doorway, down a hallway, and then down numerous staircases, spiraling down for several minutes.
They're going to put me in a wall. It's fucking cats from Amontillado.
You wake up in a jail cell 3 hours later. But you eventually come down, and they stop you, and they take off the blindfold, revealing a very large room. The ceilings may be 50 feet high. It's dark, very low lit, with just a few candles and torchlights here and there. You see there's a spread of numerous tables covered in white tablecloths. There's a bar to your left, and a large hole to your right. In front of you, there's a stage where there's a individual upon it who's singing. They have a intricate silver mask on their face, clearly of some sort of elven heritage as they're singing. And you see a lot of very well-dressed individuals all sitting at the tables, drinking and listening. What do you do?
I'm with Malfira or Gregory, right?
Yeah, the two merchants.
I guess I'll just stick by them and take a seat with them.
And they've been very smiley, very happy that you've agreed to come with them. And they sit you down at a table. They order drinks. A few drinks come out. The drinks are very good, and you assume very expensive, but they cover it for you.
Right. So why am I here again?
They both kind of turn and just smile at you.
Can I? I'm gonna cast Detect Evil and Good.
Okay.
So within 30 feet of me, I can see if there's aberrations, celestials, elementals, fae, fiends, or undead. Because this is sketchy as fuck.
Okay. So casting the spell, using your amulet that glows briefly, as you kind of look out and your sight is kind of pushed further than it was before. Looking at them, you don't sense anything from them. Just kind of scanning the crowd in your near vicinity, nothing really pings. But there is a ominous feeling, a strange alien feeling that kind of creeps up your neck as you kind of glance upward, and you're getting a very strong, aberrant presence, maybe 25, 30 feet above you, and a little bit more centered.
All right. You guys have, a restroom, right? Like a ladies' room I can use.
Make a deception check.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, that's a big old fat dirty 1.
Natural 1, okay. What's that bring the total to?
A 1. No, I rolled a 2.
Oh, okay. As you say this and kind of start to adjust to stand up, one of them still smiling and actually points back towards the bar, actually, while the other one kind of grabs the hand and puts their hand down. Why don't you at least stay until the entertainer finishes?
Okay, yeah, I can hold it.
Okay. And as you sit back down, is Roger here? Or is he... Roger?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, if you're ready, we jump over to Roger, who I believe you had some unfinished business during this leftover week.
Yeah, I wanted to go to basically find out some information with regards to kind of how to fuel my weapons with some magic. Doesn't seem like the whole swords is doing it for me, and maybe I need a bit more sorcery in my swords and sorcery.
Okay, are you looking for hard magic?
What do you mean by hard magic?
Are you asking people around, or are you more investigating in a library, or how do you want to go about it?
Yeah, I think I want to find out ways that I can make it that when I'm hitting someone with my sword, it's not just steel that's hitting them, but like I watch, like I have my fire breath, and that's full of magic, and I watch, Melly and Ellery and even Vesper do kind of ranged magic, and I kind of want to find some way to incorporate that with my blows.
Yeah, why don't you make either a persuasion check to ask around about that, or an investigation to sort of find some source of knowledge about that?
I think Ball probably isn't going to be trying to be persuasive, so he'll probably go investigating, even though I'm going to regret this.
You could try intimidation too if you wanted to try that as well.
No, I think what I mean is Ball's a bit more low key, so he's going to try to
just look around for it. Okay.
Exactly. So that'll be a 1, but not a natural 1.
Okay. Looking about, it's actually, you don't have access to the main library unless Melly is with you. So it's kind of hard to get some solid information. There's a bookstore, but the only sources you find are children's tales about people imbuing their weapons or weapons that are on fire or something like that, but nothing hard, nothing really useful.
Okay. If I'm really struggling, then maybe, I think maybe if I can get a chance, I'll kind of pull Melly aside and ask her for some help with it, because I know that she's had some explicit teachings.
Okay. And as you go over to find Melly, George, your character is walking through the woods, the forest. It is winter. It's cold. The ground is covered in snow, as well as most of the tree as well. As you're walking, you hear about 30 feet to your left. And you can hear now, as you take a second, you can hear footsteps, numerous ones. What do you do?
I try and hide.
Make a stealth check. So immediately you hear this and just turn over and get behind a tree. As you kind of look over, there's a rock next to it, and you kind of peer over as you see 1, 2, 3. You see maybe 7 or 8 orcs. You see them carrying axes. One has a spear. You see a robed one that's moving as well, as using a staff as a walking stick, moving through the woods. You can see being dragged behind them is a female, dirty and just basic rags in chains that they're dragging along.
Okay. Can I try and follow behind them?
Sure. With that stealth check, you can start to, and you can stay behind them. They're moving at a brisk pace. It'd be hard to keep up with them, and you find out over the next few minutes that you're actually being left behind, as they're not being stealthy as all. They're just trouncing through the forest. If you want to keep up with them and make up that ground, you'd have to roll another stealth check.
Okay, I will do that. Not as good. Unless the terrain is rocky.
It is rocky, actually.
Then that's another natural 20.
Okay. So you actually move very quickly. There's a lot of rocks and boulders to use to hide behind, and you're used to that terrain enough to be able to step lightly on it. The snow slows you down a bit, but you stay on the rocks enough to where you can keep up and still stay silent. You can hear them talking, but they don't ever notice you. Eventually, as time goes by, as the sun begins to set, they begin to set up camp, and they begin to take the chains and tie it around a very large log to keep the female in place as they kind of begin to gather wood for fire and set up camp. All the while, there is one who goes off to get the woods that kind of walks in your direction. For a second, you think you're spotted, but as you just kind of wait behind a boulder, he just kind of walks by and begins to pick up logs and sticks.
Okay. I want to find a place where I can just kind of keep an eye on the camp until it gets dark.
Okay. Yeah, you can pretty easily do that. You're already in a good place, and you see another one not too far away. You shift over there without issue and get behind there and begin to watch as the sun slowly begins to set. It's already pretty dark as the tree is blocking a lot of the sunlight, but as the sun does set, darkness does begin to envelop this camp here. And as you're deciding what to do with that, we jump back over to Vesper, who's watching the show.
Okay, my leg is just bouncing under the table nervously.
They see that you're nervous, but they don't change their expression. There's an occasional smile. They order you another drink here and there. They bring another drink, and again, these are very good drinks, and they bring a second one over to you.
I'm done after the second one. I'm not going to keep drinking.
Okay. They kind of look at you and sort of nod to it. They pick up their glasses to cheers you.
I'm fine. I don't want to be too wasted about stuff in the morning.
At this point, they kind of look to each other, and one of them begins to open their mouth to say something when there's a clapping sound as the entertainer finishes their set. Just a slow clapping, and you look over, and they do as well, to see a gentleman. There's, in the section of tables, there's a section down the middle that's mostly clear out, at least a pathway to the stage and out, where you see a gentleman, dark hair, very handsome, sort of tan face, and very fine black clothes. And you see his eyes are piercing yellow, almost glowing gold. It's very strange. As he claps and is just walking towards the stage. You see, as soon as he passes by each table, they're silent and just watching. The gentleman gets to the stage, kind of claps, looks up to the entertainer, says something you can't quite hear as he turns around and surveys the crowd.
As he passes me, do I get a vibe off of him?
Are you casting the spell again?
It should have been up for 10 minutes. I don't know if it's been 10 minutes.
It would probably be at the edge of that 10 minutes. Okay. But reaching out, you don't sense anything strange. You don't sense anything. But he talks to the entertainer, comes out, and as he turns around to survey the crowd, you can kind of see him looking, almost squinting to survey the crowd. As he scans his head along, he stops in your direction. You see he takes a step forward and is looking in your direction towards your general table. What do you do?
Clutching my holy symbol, I just start sipping at a drink super casually.
Okay, make a deception check.
God. That's a 12.
Okay. As he's looking in your direction, he squints, and then he kind of, as he sees you kind of nervously take up a drink and try to sip it, you see he leans back out, eyes open again, and a smile comes across his face. He walks by, back up the stairs, the whole time maintaining eye contact with you. And he walks up the stage, walks by the table, still keeping his gaze upon you, takes a left, and goes through a door on the opposite side of the bar. While you did focus your attention on him, trying to see if anything pinged on him, there was nothing on him, but you still sense that ever-present, aberrant presence above you.
Right, I'm going to use the restroom now. I'll get up, and I'm going to follow him, I think.
As you turn to go towards that doorway, there are two, one's a half-orc gentleman, and another one looks like just a human female, and they're both, the female is about your height, she's about 6 foot tall, and the half-orc is probably 6'5", bulky and very black, all black clothes. They're clearly bouncers, flanking the doorway. I'm just going to look at you as you take a step in that direction.
I don't... Vesper's not good at this kind of shit. I'll just ask them where the bathroom is.
They point to it.
Great, thank you. And I guess I'll go into the bathroom, and I don't really have a way to get in contact with any of my friends or anyone else, so I'll just try and calm down. Okay,
you go in there, you calm down. No one comes in after you or anything like that. Do you go back to your table, or what do you do?
Yeah, I'll go back to the table.
Okay. You go back to the table, the entertainer plays another set. Nothing else of note comes by.
Can I ask Gregory who that man was?
He just smiles. You have to become one of us to know his name.
One of you? What? I'm sorry, what does that mean?
This is a very exclusive place.
Clearly.
And trust is a requirement.
Uh-huh.
We thought you would seem like someone that would enjoy this exclusivity, the finer things in life, but maybe we were wrong.
No, I definitely enjoy the finer things. Don't get me wrong about that. I'm less keen on the whole super creepy vibe that's going on down here. It definitely feels like a trap of some kind. Like, just something real shady.
Well, we understand if you feel that way. You're certainly free to leave whenever you'd like. Shall we get the bouncers?
I could stay a little bit longer.
Maybe it's best you go. And he snaps his fingers and kind of uses his hands to gesture over as a bouncer, not the two there by the door, but another one comes over, and he just kind of nods towards you. Bouncer looks down at you.
All
right, let's go.
Yeah, I get up and I go with him, I guess.
Okay. And he takes you by the arm and grips you fairly tightly as he leads you to the back of the room, where another bouncer ties a blindfold onto across your eyes again, and they lead you up the reverse.
As we go again, I'm going to recast Detect Evil and Good and see if I can get a ping on where that aberration is.
With a 30-foot range, you don't detect anything as you're coming out. They take you up the stairs, through the twists and turns of the hallways, getting you out into the marble winery once again. They remove the blindfold, and then he actually continues you out of that door and takes you out of there, closing the door behind you.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go home.
Okay. As you walk home and recover and think about what just happened and what it means, we jump back over to Ball, who was trying to find something and couldn't get a hold of anything in the library, but I believe was going to approach Melly.
Yeah. Try to ask Melly for some advice.
Okay. You can find her throughout the week.
All right. Where would you be, Melly? Like, where would I find you?
I mean, I'm probably in the library, so... Or at home.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, let's say that you're at the library and I'm struggling to make sense of the library and it's not really working out for me. And with my investigation roll of 1, instead of finding useful information, I just find you reading books. And maybe that's when I'll approach you. So yeah, I guess maybe like you're reading your book and I just, maybe you get like the shadow of a towering figure behind you as I'm just kind of trying to look over your shoulder and see what you're reading.
Okay, well, I'll jump then when there's suddenly a shadow behind me. I'll turn around. You okay?
What are you reading?
I was just reading... Well, this one is, it's actually a fiction book. I was kind of taking a break from studying, so I was just reading about, no, it doesn't matter. It's fine. Everything okay?
Do you want to help me study?
Yeah. I love that. What do you want to study?
I know you are good with magic. Do you know how to make swords have magic?
I have never tried it before, but I'm sure there's a book somewhere on it. We can find it.
You see kind of like a Ball kind of perks up a bit. Yeah, as in Ball kind of like starts to lead you towards the books, expecting you to kind of
to all
come
of them.
along. Yeah, I've got no idea where to go.
Would I know where to look?
Yeah, you would know the section to look and make an investigation check.
Okay.
I'll say advantage because of your sage background. You know this library inside and out.
Okay. Neither of those are good. That's a 12.
A 12. You look through the books, and a lot of these are stories and historical accounts of people using powers or legendary weapons, and there is one sort of manual on enchanting, that's sort of for beginners, and the first section sort of has a basic history of it before it gets into actually how it's done. And what you learn is there's sort of 2 schools of thought on basically what Ball's asking for. There's enchanting the weapon, where the magic comes from the weapon. And the other school of thought is the magic comes from another source, whether it be some sort of arcane material, a entity, a powerful entity. It goes into very vague details of it could be fiendish entities or other powerful, even demigods, and then it goes into it could be divine in nature as well. But then it goes back into how enchanting actually works and using our enchanted materials, like salts and materials from elemental creatures that can be mixed in and layered in with the molten metal to cast these magical armors. And it goes into more detail about enchanting itself. But there are the two schools of thoughts where you can enchant the weapon, or the power comes from an entity or another powerful source.
I'll explain that to Bal. Are you thinking more along the lines of enchanting the weapon, or what are you thinking?
I don't think I know how to do that. Do you think Ain can help?
Would I know that?
The book mentioned other entities, including fiendish and demigods and the gods themselves. You may not know exactly how that divine magic works, but it seems to be possible.
It's possible. You could ask when you're praying. I think that's how you do that.
So, like, I guess while you're saying that, Bal kind of maybe gets a bit excited. So, kind of, he takes out his holy symbol and kind of clutches it and says, "Okay, thank you." And then Bal starts to like walk out.
Okay, it's nice seeing you. I'll go back to my book.
Yeah, and then I guess I'll walk out and kind of maybe kind of go to the shrine of Ain and prepare to say some kind of a prayer.
Okay. Give me a charisma check, just a basic charisma check. Okay. So as you go to Stonehill Abbey and go to pray at the altar, withdrawing your weapon to kind of pray over it, there's a moment when the sounds of the wind outside and the sounds of the nearby city kind of fade away, and it feels like it's just you in here. Varys and another acolyte are in the temple as well. Looks like they're mixing something or preparing incense or something for a ritual, but for a moment it feels like it's just you in here. As not just your holy symbol glows, but the weapon itself glows from the handle up. This golden silver light crawls up it, as if it's wreathed in radiant flames. It kind of goes out as soon as your mind kind of goes away from praying, but you can sense it's there.
Okay. I think, like with the same kind of rush that I left the library with, I'm going to leave the shrine and go to the one tree that I like to beat down on, so that way I can kind of test out this new radiant energy.
Okay. And you go over to that tree, and you can see the battle scars from where you've punched it and healed it and punched it again. And you can take your weapon out. And do you attempt to do the same thing?
Before I do that, I'm going to put I imagine since I've kind of made this my little place to live in, I imagine somewhere I have a tree stump that I kind of just use for sitting down on. So I want to place the sword there, and, just kind of as like some insurance, I want to try to, in my mind, infuse it with some extra energy and use my half-ruined breath to kind of, I don't know, just breathe on the sword and hope that does something.
Okay. Yeah, you can relieve the flames onto the sword, and the metal heats up, as well as burning whatever is behind it. And the metal seems to glow softly at the edges from the heat. And give me a attack roll.
Natural 20.
Okay. How do you see this going? The energy courses from you, empowered by the runic elemental power that's within you. You slam into this tree with the divine smite of your goddess.
I imagine it doesn't feel quite the same as just like an actual sword going through something with resistance. Like, it feels like there's an extra layer of something between the sword and what I'm hitting, and it just kind of gives it that sensation of like a hot knife through butter. Yeah, and maybe in this case it's like a radiant hot. Maybe like there's if there is some kind of like a yellow glow as it happens.
Yeah, you swing, and the form is perfect mechanically, but there's also something that's channeled through you as you strike into it. And as you said, the hot knife through butter tears through the tree like nothing you've done before, and you've practiced on this tree numerous times. The sword just ignite in the same gold and silver flames as you saw in the temple. And as it hits, you cut into it, a good section of it. And as you withdraw the blade with a grunt, it's smoking where you left its mark, but not a black smoke like a firewood. There's like a white silver smoke that kind of comes up from the wound you left.
I think for a moment I'll kind of be. Ball looks a bit excited until he realizes that he's got a giant hole in his favorite tree. So it'll be kind of like this moment of like, holy shit. And then I kind of drop the sword and start trying to make repairs on this tree using my druidcraft. Okay.
And you drop the weapon and begin to do so. And normally you don't cut to the core, but you've cut pretty close to the core on this one, on this strike. But you do begin to heal it up slowly after many castings, trying to use vines and various other growths to grow the tree back together. And as you're doing that, we pop over back to George as night falls on the camp. It looks like several of the orcs have laid down to rest, including the female in the hooded robes. The female human is just kind of leaned up against a log, and there's one orc that seems to be awake. There's a log that leans up where the tree is broken in half, and they've climbed up that leaned log to the top where they can kind of watch from up there, and they're just kind of surveying the area.
Okay. And you said that the person was chained to the big log?
Yeah, they took the chains that they were dragging her with and then just wrapped it around several times around the log.
Got it. Okay. Can I pick up a rock and throw it away from the camp?
Absolutely. Make a athletics check to throw it.
Sure, that's going to go great.
Okay. You toss this pebble, trying to go across away from the camp to hit something. And as you do, instead of throwing it through the camp, you hit one of the trees on the campsite and it just hits the tree and then bounces back into the camp.
Great.
The orc that's on watch clearly sees it and starts to survey the area. Make another stealth roll.
Okay.
At advantage because it's a rocky area.
Not great.
The orc knows something's up, and they withdraw a javelin, and they kind of ready it as they kind of are looking around in the area, but they don't. They're just being quiet, trying to listen for any movement.
Okay. I will shoot an arrow kind of to my right, I guess, towards the camp, towards my right.
Okay.
And just direct focus away from me.
Okay. Do you want to? Are you shooting it just across into the camp or at a tree, or?
I kind of want to shoot it so that it bristles the trees as far away from me as possible, but so like not through the camp, so he might see an arrow kind of off to the side.
Yeah, make a attack roll.
Great.
Yeah, you draw back. It kind of cuts through some of the branches of the tree as the orc kind of looks in that direction. You can see they grip the javelin tight and they kind of slide down the lean-to log, getting into the snow once again. As they're walking towards that sound, with the back part of the javelin, they slam onto the stomach of one of the other orcs as they slowly kind of get up. You hear them speak in some guttural language you don't fully understand. And it holds up a hand to its mouth as the one with the javelin kind of bends their knees and gets low and begins to creep slowly, crunching through the snow towards where he shot the arrow. As the other one kind of leans up, he's still kind of sitting on his ass, but he does pull out an axe that was by him and just kind of puts it in his lap. He's still yawning, waking up.
Okay. I'm gonna. Don't know why I'm doing this. Creep forward into the camp. As do I have to like go right where the guy is looking in order to get to whoever's chained up?
So if you imagine the camp as a circle, you were sort of at the west side of the circle. The orc that was on lookout is at the north top, and that's where the human is as well. That orc on watch has come down, and so there's one other orc that's sort of in the top right ring. But the human is behind them, so you could go around and come from behind.
Okay, I'll do that.
If that's what you wanted. Okay, go ahead and roll a stealth check. At advantage.
Ooh, thank goodness for advantage.
Yeah. You kind of creep through the snow. Luckily, there's a little bit of wind to mask some of your movement. The orc that's actually going to check out where your arrow, they're actually louder than you are as you move around to the back. And you're now behind, there's a tree, and then next to the tree, there's a second tree that is cracked in half where the orc was watching and where the human is tied up, chained.
And the other orc that woke up is still a few feet away?
Yeah, it goes you, tree, human, and then him. And he's probably maybe 5 or 6 feet in front of where the human is. Okay. But he's facing away from you. His back is towards you.
All right, I'm going to creep forward towards the human, try and do the like finger over my lips to hopefully make her not yelp.
As you're moving towards her, she doesn't hear you. I mean, you're pretty quiet, so she doesn't really notice you're there.
Okay.
She's her back is to you as well.
Great.
Unless you signal to her somehow.
And it looks like her hands are like chained and locked, or she is chained and locked in some way.
Yeah, the chains are somehow around her wrist, and then the rest of the chain is wrapped around several times around the log.
And I would have to like lift the log in order to get the
Yeah, they lifted it up a foot and just put some of the chain up under it and then dropped it.
I don't really think I can help you, lady. I'm going to try and creep in front of her so that she does notice me.
Okay. You can move forward. As you're moving forward to her, you're like right up behind where the log is. You can see the chain wrapped around and where it's landing on the chain. And you can see her back, and she's kind of looking out forward to where the other orc went to investigate your arrow. And as you're kind of seeing this scene, the sound you heard of the crunching snow from the investigating orc is gone. You don't hear it anymore. But you could whisper into her ear at this point. She's very close. She just hasn't noticed you.
Question. Is it wrapped in such a way that if I roll the log, it would unravel the chain?
If you rolled the log, you may get the weight off of part of the chain. And if you could yank out the chain quick enough while it's rolling, you might be able to do that.
Okay. So I'm just going to... I cannot reach her face. So just hold with my finger in front of my lips, try and get her attention, wave at her. And then I'm going to throw my net at the orc that's right in front of her.
Okay. Okay, let's see if she keeps her composure. As you kind of are waving, she isn't hearing. She just hears what she thinks is wind, but eventually she feels the wind coming off your hand movement. She kind of looks around and she jumps a little bit. And the other orc looks back towards you as you're pulling the net out, but she immediately looks forward again and kind of pretends you aren't there. And as the orc is kind of questioning, tilting his head to the side, you can throw your net.
Great. So it's just a straight roll because nets are always at disadvantage. So does 12 hit?
I don't think so, but let me double check.
Great.
It's always good to double check. You throw the net in his direction, and he doesn't even see where it comes from, but he immediately rolls over onto his back and stomach before getting in a push-up position, beginning to get to his feet. The axe is in his hand. He's now actively looking in your direction. What do you do?
Crap. Surprise! and I run.
Okay. Turning, running, pushing through the snow, he gives chase, jumping onto the log and then leaping off after you, running through the snow. Give me an athletics check.
That's not bad.
As you're running, you can immediately tell this guy is faster. And he's yelling back, and you can hear the rest of the orcs stirring as you're running through. And you notice every boulder or log or any sort of terrain difficulty that you kind of have to climb over, it's a little more difficult for you. He's bounding over until there's a sudden as you feel his shoulder into your back. And your face goes straight forward into the snow ground, and everything goes white.
Awesome.
All right. So as that happens, you guys have recovered. You've done your downtime activities and have been getting geared up and ready to take on this task of delivering the axe. You've gathered together. You've got whatever gear you needed. And this is kind of the night before you guys set out. Is there anything else, last thing you wanted to do?
I had a couple of errands I needed to do very quickly, I hope.
Okay.
One is that I needed to go down to the beach and get some more pocket sand.
Easy. You got it.
Second, I was going to bat my eyelashes in the most ridiculous manner at Amson and ask him if he could acquire a little bit of leather for me so that I can cast my other spell that needs material components.
How much leather do you need?
It just said a piece of cured leather.
Amson, you could get a small scrap of leather without issue. If she needs a lot, that would be an issue, but a small scrap is not a problem if you were willing to give it up.
Yeah, I can get that pretty easily.
Okay.
Okay, just let me know what I owe you. Add it to my tab.
I'll get back to you on that.
All right, so with the last errands taken care of,
I think Swan has something that she needs to say, and she's having trouble with her audio.
Okay. But whenever it comes out, I'll stop and listen.
I hate it so much. Okay.
Hey.
I just wanted to talk to Lysander when I got home that night, because he said he's been to the winery before.
Okay, sure.
And I basically just want to kind of like... So, that was horrible and weird.
He kind of raises an eyebrow at you. I wasn't fond of it either.
Who was that man with the yellow eyes?
I never got his name.
Oh. He reminded me a bit of you, you know.
You can see he kind of flinches a little bit. Like, he takes offense to it. He doesn't like it.
Not like everything, just the ice.
I don't know why they asked me to come many years ago, and I'm not sure why they asked you. I don't trust them. They seem friendly enough. They never did anything wrong, but they just give me a bad vibe.
Yeah. Well, something I've done, I can cross it off my list.
No, no.
You alright? Been quiet?
He exhales a deep sigh and then begins to tell you about his day, withholding nothing. And he goes into excruciating detail. Stuff that Varys doesn't really want to hear.
Yeah.
All right. So any last things, if you guys are beginning to gather up the night before, getting ready, last gearing up?
Kalvyn wants to, if everybody is together the night before we decide to head out, assuming that we are about to head out to deliver the axe, Kalvyn, if we get all together, would like to wrangle the crew.
Sure. Yeah, you can easily wrangle them all together.
Okay, if we're all together, Kalvyn's gonna be like a little shifty and nervous, and kind of look at everybody and start. This is what he's gonna say. He's gonna say, "This is what Kalvyn says." I kind of wanna talk to y'all about something, but I need a little bit of a visual aid, if you will. So if y'all wouldn't mind following me, I'd really do appreciate it.
Sure.
And they kind of start
All right.
walking. You just start walking out of town.
I follow.
Yeah.
You go outside of town. Where do you go?
I want to having walking back and forth from the town to his house. Maybe he's a little bit more familiar with the scenic area, and so he would like to find a spot, a more scenic spot, kind of like a rocky outcrop over the sea. And you see, how would I explain it? It's something that like it's nightfall, right? So it's like right before the sun's going down.
Yeah, you can. You can find that. You know this area well enough, and from your walk and spending time outside, especially near Wicked Hill, which is to the south, you know of a place. Most of the cliffs are to the north, but there is one outcropping to the south, and it's only maybe 20, 25 feet overhanging the water, but there's this rocky outcrop over the rolling tides of the Sea of Orn that expands as far as you can see eastward. You can see the sky is night is kind of falling. It's right at that crux in dusk as the stars twinkle as they begin to reveal themselves, and the sky is that deep shade of blue that kind of blurs the horizon's line where the sea ends and the sky begins. You can see the waves in the sea as they roll in and out with the tides. The waves glow with that familiar orange light beneath, reflecting from the emberstones below. And the lights kind of reflecting and refracting dance, performing against the cliff face of the outcrop below you, as some of you may hang your feet over or sit down. And in this moment that Kalvyn has kind of led you out there, and you kind of see all this getting geared up physically and mentally for this journey you're about to take, there's a brief moment of stillness and quiet content as gentle snow kind of begins to fall, slowly accumulating on your shoulders and upon your heads as you turn to look at Kalvyn.
A real romantic spot you've picked for us.
Well, thing is, we've already been through a lot. And I thank the gods that we're lucky enough to all be here right now in this moment, sharing the beauty of the world. But to me, I know there's more out there to find, and there's more moments for having. And we need to make sure we all get to experience them. As wondrous as this sight might be, I don't think the stars would shine so bright if just one of you were not here. That said, from here forth, all my actions will be to keeping this group together, alive and well. And I expect each of you to do the same.
And Kalvyn looks towards the horizon and kind of exhales a deep breath. Looks back to everybody and kind of offers a husky smile, and then kind of nods and turns to walk away.
Yeah, right, Kalvyn, no offense, but I've literally kept all of us physically together on an individual basis. So I don't think you got to worry about any of that.
You just keep on, then.
I think Ball will kind of fidget with the bronze scale that Kalvyn gave him before. Then he'll walk up to Kalvyn and put his hand on his shoulder and say, "You have my sword."
Well, buddy, I kind of think you'll need that.
No. My.
I mean, I already got 2.
No,
Vesper
will,
slowly just puts her face in her hands.
I will help you with my sword. And and then I like pull out the axe, and then I say, and my axe, and I'm holding the sword and the axe out.
Gandalf descends upon all of y'all, and you're all dead. Roll new characters. Good God. Poor Katie.
And then I guess I'll slowly put him away after the misunderstanding here.
Okay. After this display of weaponry and seeing this beautiful scene in Kalvyn's words, you guys eventually make it back home for one final night of rest in a bed. As you gather up the next morning after eating outside of the gates, the western gates, the Stonehill Abbey is right there on the hill next to you, and you have everything you need and you're ready to go. You can see it's early morning. The sun is crisp and reflecting off the snow. It's cold, but the wind is moderate. It's not too harsh now. You see the trail that leads towards the Nohst Woodlands in front of you. What do you do?
Well, which direction are we heading?
I think it's this way. And I'll point in the correct direction.
Okay. You know the basic direction is northwest of where you are. So you're going towards the mountain.
Okay, so I'll point in that direction. Is the mountain visible from where we are?
Not from where you are. No, you're several days travel out. And the pine trees are obscuring a lot of what you see.
Okay, well then I'll point in the northwestern direction and start leading the party that way.
Okay, who's leading the order?
If Ball is leading the way, I'll stay close to him with my lodestone ready if we need it.
Okay. Whoever's leading, give me a survival check.
All right. Well, if you're not going to help me, Kalvyn, here goes nothing.
Ball, would you like?
Here goes a 2.
Jesus.
Never mind.
And we all die in the woods.
So you follow Ball trouncing in the northwestern direction. Eller, you can roll the dice-shaped lodestone a few times until you're basically going northwestish. And travel like this goes by for several hours, and eventually you kind of make yourself... the terrain gets a little more rocky, a little more, not quite mountainous, but hilly, boulders, crags, gulches begin to approach, and you're having to deal with these terrains and slowing you down significantly. Eventually you kind of get into a almost like a caldera, a small caldera where you get in there and there's a dead end. And you're heading the right direction, but in front of you is maybe a 50-foot boulder you'd have to climb to get out to continue in the right direction. And you're a little bit, you're heading the right direction, but you're a little bit lost as to how to get there easily. So it's probably about 1 o'clock. Go ahead, Kalvyn.
What, is this where we're supposed to drop off that axe?
Any sign of the mountain yet?
No, and actually from where you guys are currently you're surrounded by boulders. You walked in between two to get to where you are. But as of now, you can't see anything besides the surrounding boulders. You're sort of in a pit almost.
So I'll look around at the boulders and say, no, I don't think these are the mountains.
Did Kald give you any sort of direction as to where we're supposed to be going? Like any map or something actually useful?
I think they came by to talk to me while I was kind of healing up, and they gave me some more detailed instructions.
They told you you're going to the Nohst mountain range to Stronghold Ustax. It's at the westernmost end of the Saber Fjord, a river that runs through it. And it's basically northwest, several days, maybe 5 or 6 from Embershore.
Okay, so I'll kind of communicate that to the party. No, it's several days this way.
I guess we gotta get out of this here. Relax.
Looks like either we climb or we backtrack.
I vote for backtracking.
Does it look climbable for someone of Ball's stature?
It doesn't look like an easy climb for anyone, but you could certainly try.
I mean, theoretically, we only need one person to get up to the top, and then we can use a rope from then on, right?
Yes, and I have a thick rope.
We know. Alright. If you think you can climb, I mean, my vote is still on backtracking, but...
Ball will look to the rest of the party and see what the consensus is.
Ball, if you want to try to climb, I can try to help you with an encouraging song, but I'm not going to be able to be much more help than that.
Okay, I'll try it.
All right. I will inspire Ball with a song. Now I'm looking to say to Ball, looking to say what's kind. Ball is always there when I'm in a bind. I'm looking for a kind of friend who's loyal, that's hard to find. Ball is the best, valuable, and refined.
All right, so after hearing the song, Ball, you can move forward trying to climb. Give me an athletics check. And you do have your bardic inspiration.
I think I'll use it right off the get-go.
I think that's fairly wise.
It's 1d6, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, it's a d6.
Okay, so it's a 9.
You try to climb, and you get up maybe 10 feet or so and slide back down. There's no real handle marks. The stone is pretty smooth, and the few crevices and handholds you find, they just crack loose and you slide back down. You're too heavy to utilize them. And as you kind of come back down and land, the snow kind of kicking up where you land, we hop back over to George's character. As you kind of wake up from the snow, you look around and you're in a wooden crate. You can see the side of it is stained red. At first you think it's blood, but it smells sweet. Looking through the cracks, you can see the same sort of orcs, but you don't see the human anymore. You also see your net, and tangled up in the net is looks like most of your gear, at least the bow.
Great.
And as you're looking around, suddenly the crate shifts and is lifted, and you're suddenly kind of bouncing up and down as one of the orcs has you over his shoulder and is trudging you through the snow. You can kind of see the forest around through the thin cracks.
Okay. The whole band seems to be moving with us, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, everyone seems to be. Yeah, you can see the vague shapes through the cracks.
All right, I think I'll just kind of sit tight and observe. I can't get out of a crate.
Okay. You sit down. And this isn't like a cage. You can tell it was probably something that carried wine or ale or goods or flour or something.
Oh, yeah, I know.
And you're in that as they are taking you in some direction. You're not sure. All you can see is snow, their vague figures, and trees. These evergreen trees.
I'll try and observe them and any communication they have as best I can.
What languages do you speak?
Not Orc, but I have my background thing. So if I observe them for a day, I can get loose communication.
Okay. Going off of that, you can't really tell what they're saying, but you can tell there's one who seems to be sort of the leader. You can tell he's a little bigger, stronger, grizzly beard, and the others seem subordinate to him. One of them, there's 4 others besides the leader. There's one of that 4 that seems the one that investigated your arrow that seems a little bit more resistant, doesn't like taking commands and orders, and there's a little bit of a rivalry between them. But otherwise, you're being carried by one of the orcs as they trudge through the snow.
Okay.
As we hop back over to the others who are stuck in this caldera.
Ball will look to Amson and say, as he slips down and says, "No, sorry. Vesper's right. This won't work. It was a nice song, though."
Well, thank you, Ball. I'll take that at the very least. We should probably backtrack, though. Try to find a place that's a little bit easier to get to the top of.
I agree. And then I'll try to lead the way and maybe casually graze by Kalvyn, recognizing his survival prowess.
Kalvyn is currently distracted with a banh mi that he has been wanting all day and is trying to slowly finish and savor.
Oh, what can I help you with, Ball? You got this, my friend.
Do you know how to get around these boulders?
Well, I'd assume we kind of just walk.
Okay. I guess I'll lead the way. And I'll leave Kalvyn to finish with his savory meal.
Okay. Give me a survival check then. As you come out of the caldera, moving to the south to get out of it, using a few hours.
17. I guess I didn't need Kalvyn after all. I'm trying so hard to get Calvin's expert survival to help me, and he's like, nope. I'm going to do everything I can to not help you.
So you come out of this caldera and come forth, and you lose some time here, and it's not but a few hours later after you kind of backtrack and make your way out that you kind of start to move around it. You do notice where the boulders are and avoid the pitfalls of falling down these sort of easy trails that lead you down and in, and sort of go the long way around to avoid getting stuck in any sort of valley-like ridges. So you come around, but nightfall does fall just a few hours after you get out of that area. You guys make camp and begin to wake up the next day. Unless you guys wanted to push through the night with Ball having some idea of where to go next.
I can't see that great in the night, I don't think. So it might be a decent idea to make camp. Besides, we've been walking all day.
Yeah. I'll vote for sleeping at a decent hour the first night.
Makes sense to camp unless we have a good reason not to.
All right, yeah. So then Ball will start helping with setting up the camp.
Okay. And as you guys are setting it up and everything, everyone give me a perception check.
Ooh. Hell yeah.
10.
I got a 15.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20.
It's a 2 for Ball.
So you guys are setting up the camp, getting ready for it. And as you are, Vesper and Amson, you hear some sounds like just crunching through the snow. And then a few moments later, you hear... That's about all that Amson hears, but Vesper hears voices. Very distant. You cannot tell what they say, but you do hear just a few mumbled words, it sounds like, coming from the north.
So if anyone's starting a fire, I stop them. Go, shh. There's someone in the woods that way. There's a few people. I can hear voices.
After she points them out, you all can vaguely hear footsteps. You start to hear cracking of limbs, things dropping. And you hear every now and then you hear low voices communicating.
Can we make out the voices?
You can barely hear them when Vesper points them out to you. You can't really tell what they're saying or even what language it may be in, because they're pretty far to the distance, and you're hearing through the wind. Vesper is really the only reason you can kind of hear it after she points it out to you.
Should we go look into it?
I was just going to suggest that Ellery and I very, very quietly go check it out.
Yes. I think it's better if we don't all go. Maybe what Amson said. We're quieter.
Right.
Vesper, you will hear us yelling. It will be fine.
Yeah. Okay. I'm more concerned about hearing Ellery exploding something.
Well, if you hear that, then you know to come running.
Okay.
Well,
Kalvyn's gonna grab Amson before they leave and just be like,
Remember what I said. Come back.
Yeah. I should probably tell you the same thing, but the circumstances right now, I'm the target of that, so. But yes, thank you.
Do I know how far away, roughly, the voices are? Like how far away these guys are going to have to go?
Listening out, you're guessing maybe roughly maybe 50, 60, 100, something in that range. It's really hard to tell.
Perfect. I'm going to cast Shield of Faith on Amson before he leaves.
Okay.
Thank you.
Everybody's worried about him.
You can cast
take care of
spells.
yourself.
I can't do anything.
yeah, Ellery's proven that she can handle anything.
Ellery's a survivor. She'll be fine.
So you cast the spell as the shimmering kind of extends from your holy symbol onto Amson, kind of surrounding him briefly. So is it Amson and Ellery who are going?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Roll some stealth checks.
Oh boy.
16.
22.
Okay. So as you're moving forward, you kind of, there's a slope that leads you up towards the direction where Amson, you heard it, and Vesper also pointed the direction. As you're crunching through the snow, staying low as you can, you feel like you're being pretty quiet. You can hear the wind rushing through the trees modestly as you get closer and closer to the sounds. Over the next couple of minutes, as you do get closer, you hear the sounds of footsteps and movement and dropping and snapping stop, and you see a faint glow of light up ahead. You can just barely make it out. It's beyond some trees and rocks, but you can kind of see a faint glow of fire.
You see that?
Yeah. At this point, can we hear any voices?
You're closer, so you can kind of make out voices communicating. You're still pretty far, and you can't quite tell what they're saying, but you can hear more distinctly several different voices communicating.
Okay, let's get a little bit closer.
Sure. We could do that.
So moving closer, you can see, as you do get closer, moving from tree to tree, hiding behind rocks as best you can see what looks like a few figures in furs and some in armor sitting around a fire. You can see two of them are standing up where the others are on the ground. Looks like they're tearing into food. You can see tusk, tattoos. You can see their hair is tied back. You see several weapons on the ground. One of the standing one has an axe that's embedded into the snow. He's kind of leaning on as he's drinking in something.
Do we recognize the nature of these creatures?
Both of y'all roll perception checks.
Perception.
And
18.
That's a 6.
okay. Amson, you can tell they have tusks. They look orcish in nature. Ellery, you can tell the same. And you also notice that there is another one that's further away from the fire, that's kind of leaning up against a tree. You didn't notice the first time. Looks like an orc as well, a female, who's not socializing with the rest. And you see laid down beside the group by the fire, there's a wooden box. Some of them have food or drink that are kind of using it as a table stand. And George, give me a perception check for your character as well.
Sorry, my sheet disappeared. Hang on. Come back. Perception. Not great.
You're just watching them eat, drink. They're doing less talking now. They're mostly just eating and drinking.
While I'm in here, can I just very gently push on some of the boards, try and see if any of the areas of this crate are weaker than the others?
Yeah, make an investigation check. Yeah, you can tell it's mostly sturdy. Just by pressing a little bit, you can tell the joints are all wobbly. And you do notice that one of the boards to your left is a little loose. You can tell that the nails are rusted in that board, though the snow kind of blocks it a little bit. That board is a little looser than the others.
Okay, I'm just going to bide time for now.
Looks like a band of orcs.
Not necessarily trouble, but could be.
I'm sure if we stay quiet and just go back to the group, everything will be fine. We won't have to tangle with them. We should probably just leave them alone.
Can I see any sign of which direction they came from?
You can try to make a survival check.
All right, we'll see how that goes. 21.
21, looking around, just from the direction that you and Amson went, you don't see any tracks in your direction, so you get the feeling they weren't coming from your direction, nor do you see any in the immediate vicinity besides the camp. You'd have to sneak around to see more. That's kind of the most you can get from without giving up cover, essentially. Or
Right.
you could risk stealth to see more, but you can tell they did not come from the south or probably not from the east.
Right.
Ellery, as you're kind of looking for this, you notice movement, and for the first time, Amson, you actually see the fifth orc who is leaning up against a tree as they begin to move, slowly walking in your general direction. The other orcs don't seem to pay her any mind at all. She just kind of is moving in that direction.
Yeah, I motion to Amson to kind of, I guess, go south from where we are, kind of circling around a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, you can circle around a little bit. Give me a stealth check.
Oh boy. That's pretty good.
Ooh, that is a 12 for me.
I got a 23.
Okay. Quickly moving, waiting for a moment where the line of sight for this investigating orc and for the other orcs is blocked by a tree, or when the others are deep into their meal, you quickly move from one boulder and tree to another set of boulders and trees as you're hunched down behind them. And the orc kind of goes off in the direction of where you were, but hasn't seemed to notice you or anything else. And they have their weapon out, their axe out, but they're not. They haven't shifted anyway. They're just where you were before. And George, you noticed that the same orc that was investigated before is searching again. You can tell they're looking for something.
Can I start singing?
Sure. Yeah, all of a sudden, Ellery and Amson, you hear singing suddenly coming from the camp. And you also hear a sudden, shut up, in Orcish for those of you that sing. And George's character, you hear a sudden as they slam their fist onto the box.
Okay. Seeing that, I'm going to look at Amson and then point back towards our camp.
I'm gonna nod in Ellery's at Ellery and start moving back towards camp.
Yeah.
Give me a stealth check.
14.
Natural 20.
Okay.
I'm not even joking.
Okay. Amson, you begin to move through the snow quietly, shifting through as your sound of travel is covered by the singing and the loud banging on the wood from whatever is happening. Ellery, as you move, you're crouched down, and the orcs at the camp don't seem to hear you, but there's a sudden snap as you hear movement from the investigating orc moving directly in towards where you are currently are. You're not sure if they saw or heard something, but they are moving straight for you. I need everyone to go ahead and roll initiative, including the others who are not currently in this situation.
Ooh, that's a natural one.
I got a 21 total.
5. Vesper got a 4. Ellery 17. 14. For George, 16 for Ball. Kalvyn.
12.
Thank you. Amson, what's your dexterity score?
My dexterity score is 14, but for some reason I have a 3 to initiative. I think it's Jack of all trades.
Okay. So as you suddenly hear movement coming in your direction, you're pretty sure you weren't heard, though maybe you stepped on something. You get the jump on this initiative. What do you want to do?
Oh, okay. I go first. Which way is the way back towards the camp?
South.
South. Okay. I'm gonna move south as much as I can then.
Okay.
And find the group, apparently.
They're actually not. They're not actually there.
Oh, okay.
They're further down. I just have them on the map.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'll keep moving towards the group.
Okay. So do you dash, or are you trying to stealth in that direction?
I'm gonna try to stealth in that direction.
Okay, so you're gonna be at 30 feet movement. Go ahead and give me another stealth roll.
Okay. That's not as good. That's a 12.
Okay. You're trying as best you can to move stealthily. You're not sure how stealthily you are, trying to get away as quickly as possible. And that being your turn, we're going to go to the next one here. Who is going to be this guy who stands up, one of the orcs at the campfire, immediately stands up and grabs their weapon and moves vaguely a few steps in the direction of where the other one is moving and tries to look around and see. He doesn't notice. What was your stealth score, Ellery? Was it 15 or 16? Or 14?
I don't remember exactly, but I think it was 14.
Okay. He moves over and is kind of looking at the direction where the investigating work was moving towards you, and suddenly snaps his head and begins charging in that direction. You can only get so far because he had to stand up. Actually, Vess is close. Actually, no. He gets right here, and the rock in front of you is about maybe 10 to 15 feet tall, and you see through the crack between two of the rocks, you see an orc as he's moving around, and he locks eyes with you between these two boulders. I'll bring us up to this one. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. She can't quite get to you, but she's getting close.
Okay.
And as she's running, she takes the javelin in her hand, and she's going to throw it at you.
Oh, goody.
That's only a 10 to hit.
Nope.
The javelin shoots by your head. You easily kind of dodge to the side as the javelin lands in the snow behind you. And that will bring us up to you, Ellery.
Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is run. Let me figure out how far I'm running. So I'm going to get right down to where Amson is, and then I am casting Mage Armor.
Okay. So you run down to where Amson is. And Amson, you're now out of cover. At least the one that's closest to you can see you easily as you're out of cover. But the shield kind of rushes over your form.
And how far are we from our own camp at this point?
You're maybe 60 feet north.
Okay, so since I've obviously been spotted, I'm just going to yell, "We've got incoming!"
Okay. So yelling that
the
out.
rest of the group.
As you yell that out, we have another one who's going to step forth. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. Is going to get right there. And they are going to... they're going to throw at you, Ellery. And that is a 18 to hit as a javelin soars towards you.
Yep.
It lands into your upper right shoulder, cutting through your deltoid and your clothes there, dealing 6 piercing damage.
Okay.
And Ball, as you're in the camp waiting for Ellery and Amson to return, you suddenly hear Ellery's voice call out. What would you like to do?
I knew they were taking too long. And then I'll draw my greatsword and start running in the direction of the noise. North. So, 1, 2. And I don't see anything, so I'll use my action to move further.
You're rushing through the forest, trudging through the snow.
And yeah, that's all I can do, so that'll be my turn.
Okay, moving forward. And that's going to bring us up to your character. You're currently in the cage. You can see immediate movement as the camp springs into action. What would you like to do?
Okay. I would like to ready a dash action and start making the most annoying sound I could possibly think of as loud as humanly possible.
Okay. Make a performance check or a con check if you're just going for loudness.
I will do a straight con check.
Okay. As you yell out this annoying noise, you can see the two orcs that are nearest to you just almost wince in pain at the sheer volume and tone of it, the shrill noise, as the rest of you down actually hear that as well. You can hear another noise. Doesn't sound like Amson or Ellery, but you do hear another noise. And prepare to take the dash action. Any particular trigger?
If they smash the crate, I'm going to run out of it.
Okay. All right, so just preparing to run. And that's going to bring us up to Kalvyn as you hear this noise. And Ball is taking off running north.
Well, I am not one to be left behind, so I will accompany that feller. Where's 38? Fair-ish. Okay, well, I see Ball. I guess with my bonus action, I am going to light my sword on fire. And I will go another 30 feet. Bring me up. Come on. Right there, which I can see nothing. Do we know where the sound was coming from?
Directly north. You can hear it. It was very loud. And you can also hear movement and guttural noises as well.
And I can't see shit.
Rush forward. It's dark out. You drag your blade along your hand as the blood... You said fire, correct?
Yes, sir.
As the blood ignites in fire and you rush up, catching up with Ball. And that bring us up to this guy. Oops. Zoomed in a lot. Let's see what he's going to do as George's character is giving off that really loud noise. Suddenly, George, as you're giving out this noise, you hear a guttural "Shotgun Drasilos." As you hear the orc right next to you shift, drive their feet into the ground in snow, lift up into the air, and there's a crack, and that is at disadvantage because of the crate, a 14 to hit.
No, 15.
Okay, so just barely saved by the grace of the wood itself, providing some amount of shielding. The axe drives into the box, driving into the snow right next to you as splinters go everywhere. And you see this orc just kind of staring at you, locking eyes. You can see the yellow-orange eyes staring at you, baring its teeth at you.
Yeah, I immediately run east.
Okay, as soon as you begin to do so, the thing tries to attack at you with the axe. Is a 10?
That will not hit.
As it swings, it goes right over your head as you're trudging through the snow, going straight east.
Now that I'm out, do I know where my stuff is?
It's right by the crate. It's directly to the right of this orc.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll come back for that. All right, that's that's my saved action.
All right, and that is going to bring us up to Melly. You can hear the noise of a screaming and then a smash as you hear running coming from the north. You see Kalvyn and Ball take off in that direction, weapons out.
Am I able to... I can't see shit at the moment, so am I able to kind of go the same way that Ball's and Kalvyn were going?
Okay. Yeah, you can hear them, so you can just run in that direction blindly.
Okay, which direction is that?
North.
Just straight up or northwest?
Yeah, just straight north.
Okay.
As you run through, you can kind of see only a few feet in front of you. The other north, straight up.
Sorry?
I'll move you here because you have the same movement as Kalvyn.
Thank you.
As you just move straight north, upwards, in the direction of the noise. Do you dash?
Yeah, I'll dash.
Okay, so you can get up to where Ball is. You can see him right there as he's kind of stumbling forward as well in the dark.
Would my sword be emitting a light source, or as it is currently a flame?
That's a good point. There we go. So you do have a light source.
Thank you, Kalvyn.
In the form of Kalvyn's weapons. And Millie, as you're rushing forward, this one by the camp is going to turn towards the one that swiped at you, George. Shakon Tasir. And pointing in your direction of where you're running, George, towards the orc that's closest to you, as he's going to go south. And Vesper, you're on deck.
I am just going to dash.
And
Get right to here.
okay.
I can get right up between Ball and Kalvyn.
Yeah. And as this one actually is moving south, you can see Ellery Anson is going to go ahead and strike towards Anson. I don't think that's going to hit. Throwing out a javelin again, that's say only 13 to hit.
Nope.
It flies towards you. You're not sure which one he was aiming for, but it goes between you before landing in the snow behind you. And Vesper, you dashed forward, and that brings us back up to you, Anson. You now see what looks like 4 of them converging upon you.
Okay. I think I'm gonna use. I'm gonna shoot the one closest to me on the left with my hand crossbow.
Okay.
That
draw
is,
it, release it.
That is a 19 to hit.
Yeah, it lands into the lower stomach, the abdomen of this creature.
Okay,
and it looks up at you.
That is 5 points of piercing damage.
Okay. He kind of looks up at you and breaks off the bolt and kind of throws it to the ground, staining the snow in blood.
All right. And then for my movement, I'm going to just break stealth and run 30 feet south.
Okay.
If the snow allows me.
Yeah, you can. It's up to your ankles, but it's not bad enough yet. It hasn't snowed in a week or two. So you rush after shooting that one.
Yeah.
That'll bring us up to this one. 20, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Catching up to you, Ellery. And this one is going to rush up to you and try to tackle you. Make a acrobatics or athletics check.
Oh, goody. Okay, that's not bad. That's actually a dirty 20.
Roll a 22, natural 19. As he slams into you, knocking you to the ground. Knocking you back up against the tree and then falling into the ground as he stands over you, pulling his axe out. And that will bring us over to this one. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. As this one rushes up to you, you're currently on the ground. This orc is going to bring... she's the one that threw the javelin at you. Dropping the javelin, she pulls out the great axe off her back. It's going to strike at you at advantage since you're prone on the ground. That is a 22 to hit.
Yep, that definitely hits.
Luckily, she rolled a 1 on her great axe damage. As it comes down, she's a little wild and unwieldy with it and actually hits part of the tree behind you, tearing the bark, splintering it everywhere, but you still suffer 4 slashing damage as she comes down. And that brings us up to you, Ellery.
Oh, great.
You have 2 orcs standing over you and 2 more nearby.
So, was I just knocked down, or was this one holding on to me?
He's not holding on to you. He just ran into you and shoulder checked you as you slammed into the tree behind you and then onto the ground. So you're prone on your back.
Okay. 2 of them is not good. So, are you saying something? I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, I was just saying, as you're deciding what you're doing, you see the fur and leather armor upon them. You see the one that just hit you. You can see hanging from parts of her armor. You see pieces of skin tied to a string of leather by the hair.
Okay, so I know what I'm going to do. I am going to cast sleep.
Okay. Where are you casting it?
Basically just centered right on where I am.
Okay. Does that ignore you?
Yes, because I can't be put to sleep by magic.
Okay. And let's see the radius here. See if you can definitely catch those two right next to you. You want to see if you can catch anyone else. You can go ahead and roll the hit dice for it.
Okay, let me just check how many I need for that.
5d8.
Yeah.
20 feet.
Which is exactly how many d8 I own.
Can't quite catch them.
5, 9, 11, 15, 16.
Okay. And I'm going to randomly roll to see. Low number is the top, high is the bottom. Of 1. As you see the top one, the shoulder checks you to the ground, falls to the ground, sleep in the snow. Just the snoring kind of pulling in snow and then pushing it out again. The other one doesn't even flinch because it's looking down at you.
Okay.
So that's your action. You still have movement and bonus if you want to try anything.
Let's see.
You could potentially stand up here, at least to get up to your feet.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get up to my feet, but I'm not going to move because, well, no, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to make a run for it for as far as I can.
Okay, you stand up 15 feet of movement and begin to run. It's going to get an attack, but instead of attacking, it's going to actually... no, actually, she's going to swing with the axe for you and just bury it into your back. That is not good. That is a 10.
Nope.
Cuts off a few of the limbs of the nearby tree as you get up to your feet with 15 foot, and you have 15 feet to run.
Which is not very far, but it's something.
Okay. You rush down, and that'll bring us up to this one here. The wounded one is going to rush down 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and is going to rush up to you. And is going to attack. Natural 1 as soon as he begins to strike, he steps forward with it, trying to deliver power, and steps into the snow is deeper in that part, kind of falls down. The axe goes wild and wildly misses you. And that will bring us up to Ball.
All right. I'm going to continue moving forward. Does it still sound like it's directed to the north? All the commotion?
Yeah, you can definitely hear most of the commotion is heading to the north, and it's getting closer, actually.
It's 25. I still don't see anything. I'm going to use my action to dash. And at this point, I see Amson. So I'll just kind of move up beside him. And just kind of like, I don't know, I'm assuming, Amson, you're kind of running in my direction, right?
Yeah, I'd be, at this point, I would be kind of like taking a couple steps backward and facing the direction that you're running towards, but yes.
Okay, so maybe in that case, like, I'll run up beside you, just put my hand, like, one of my hands on your shoulder, and my other hand's on my blade. Just kind of letting you know I'm here. And that'll be the end of my turn. Okay.
And as you do so, you can kind of see Amson, who's kind of walking back as you put your hand on his shoulder. You can see he's kind of wide-eyed looking north, his eyes darting around. You can hear movement all around you and in front of you, not too far. You can't quite see. That's going to bring us up to George. Your character, as you're running off to the east, you can hear movement behind you.
Okay. I'm going to skid to a halt and turn. Does it look like if I run over to where my stuff is, I could grab my short sword and still get an attack off? Or would that, do I have to bring for it?
you can, just glancing at it, because it's a net and you can just see through it, you can see the short sword's right there. You might have to pull it out, so it depends on how easily you can pull it out. If that makes sense. I'll give you a check, and if you do high enough, you pull it out, no problem, and can strike, and otherwise it kind of gets stuck, but you do get it out.
All right, that's fair. I'll do that. So I'll run back right there and try and grab my short sword.
Okay. Give me a athletics check.
Great. Big old 6.
You pull it out, and it kind of gets hung up on the net. You tug on it, and it cuts through part of the rope, and you get it out. It's in your hand, but you don't have enough time to attack with it as well. It ended up taking your whole action instead of a bonus.
All right. That's okay. I'll just wait there.
Okay, so you're right there holding the short sword in your hand, and you see this formidable orc standing over you with a great axe in his hands, in both of his hands. You see a dagger on his hip that's about the size as your short sword, as he kind of leans over you. And that will bring us up to Kalvyn, as you're rushing forward.
Yeah, that's the name of the game. Rushing forward. Kind of like Russian roulette, except not nearly as interesting.
As you're moving forward, you can hear strikes, yells, parries, metal clashing, and guttural voices talking. And you actually can kind of make out what they're saying a little bit. Mostly insults and curses, but you can hear them. Ellery, you would hear that too, actually.
Okay, that's about as far as I got, and as my other bonus action, I will light up my other sword, because why the hell not?
Drawing blood, which ignites immediately in flames, making it a little easier for you to see ball as you're moving forward. And that will bring us up to this one that is right in front of you, George. He's going to try to come down with the axe. That is only an 11 as he comes down.
That will miss.
You jump backwards as it slams into your equipment. You fear for what he just hit as he pulls the axe back out. And that will bring us up to Melly.
Stacey? I'm going to... Is Ellery fighting that one that's next to her?
Yeah, you can see she's currently engaged with what looks like an orc.
Okay, then
bearing down on her with a great axe.
I will Ray of Frost it.
Okay, make an attack roll.
That's a 12.
Just barely misses. As it's going for you, he's not even really looking in your direction, but as it comes, it instinctually sees it and moves with almost animal-like instinct, shifting over to the side as the ice bolt slams into the tree beside him, covering it in frost, just over his shoulder.
That's my turn then.
Okay, and that will bring us up to this guy who's going to rush forward. He's gonna get right here. For fuck's sake. Ellery and Kalvyn, you hear that. The rest just hear some other guttural language as he kicks the sleeping one in the side, who begins to stir slowly in the snow and continues to move forward. And he gets up to you, but that's all he can do. This one in front of you is probably half foot or more taller than the rest. As he's moving forward, he has the great axe in his hand as well, and javelins on his back. And that will bring us up to you, Vesper.
Okay. I'm going to run forward then, if I can get my everything to stop lagging. And I can make it there. And I'm going to... okay. I'm going to toll the dead on the tall guy. So he needs to make a wisdom saving throw.
Natural 14.
Shit, yep. Okay.
Okay, so a tolling bell rings by his ears, and he just kind of looks confused at it. But he's staring menacingly into Ellery's eyes. Seems to mostly ignore it.
Oh, great. Well, that's my turn.
Brings us back up to Amson. You're standing. Kalvyn and Ball have kind of reached your back at this point. What would you like to do?
Not the big guy, not the one next to Ellery, but the one behind.
Mm-hmm.
That one I'm going to cast Vicious Mockery on. So it needs to make a wisdom save.
Natural 19.
Okay. With my bonus action, I'm going to inspire Ellery, because she needs it. Sure, let's go with this one. There's a fire burning in your heart. That's what happens when your life has a rough start. Honestly, you're powerful beyond compare. You're just a girl who don't got any fucks to spare.
You hear this song in this tense moment as you're being surrounded by these orcs that are slowly swarming upon you. You hear this tune coming from Amson behind you, lifts your spirits.
And then for my move, I'm going to move onto the other side of Ball here, just to get away from everybody and out of the way.
Okay. As you shift over, the one that was sleeping, that was kicked, slowly rouses and gets up. 20, 25, 30. Seeing a new target is going to rush forward. 5, 10, 15. Can get up to Ball and is going to attack. Is a 22 to hit Ball.
Just barely.
You take 7 slashing damage and give me a strength saving throw.
That's a 21.
So as he slams this axe into you, you feel it push back a little bit. As you push back 6 or so inches, you steady yourself, dig your heels in, and remain on your feet. And that will bring us up to this one. And she's going to move forward as well. And she's going to get right there and attack you, Ball, actually. That is a 12.
That won't hit.
Okay. It's kind of scrapes part of your armor as you parry it away with your arm and elbow, not able to penetrate through. And that will bring us up to you, Ellery. You have 2 straight on you.
Okay, are either of them wearing metal?
No, both of them are mostly in hides and furs.
Okay, so in that case, I will just go for the big one right in front of me and cast Shocking Grasp, which is... Oh, that's good. That is a 22.
That does it. Which one were you hitting, red or blue?
Red.
Red, okay.
And that's...
Yeah, that does it. And actually, he is in plate mail, so it does do that extra effect.
So that was just advantage.
Okay. Roll again just in case it's a natural 20. You do hit, but just in case.
No, the 17 plus 5 was definitely better.
Okay. Yeah, you do hit. You see this shifting plate mail. Those piecemeals definitely seen battle before.
Okay, and that was 6 damage.
Okay.
6 lightning.
As the lightning stretches out, his muscles convulsing for a moment as you see he begins to bleed through cracks in the plates.
And I know I'm going to take an attack of opportunity from the other one for this, but I don't like that look on your face.
I assume you're moving south?
Yes.
As you begin to do so, the other one, the red one in front of you, can't move. He's trying to, but can't. You can see his eyes are piercing through, trying to push his muscles, but they won't move. The other one next to him takes this opportunity and swings towards your legs, and that is 20 damage. That's it.
Okay.
Cuts into your legs. And if you're still conscious, make a strength saving throw.
I am not conscious.
Okay, she takes out Ellery's legs, as those who can see in the light, takes out her legs as she falls to the ground. Looks like tendons are cut. As Ellery, blackness envelops you before you even hit the snow and the ground. Your eyes roll back as you into the snow. And as you are there, that will bring us up to him, actually, again. He's going to ignore you and move forward to Kalvyn here. And that is a 21 to hit you, Kalvyn.
Oddly enough, that does hit.
Okay. You take 13 slashing damage.
Jesus.
No, I'm sorry. 11.
Oh, that's better.
And make a strength saving throw.
Super good at that. It's a nat 19. If you really want me to. That's
no, you're good.
23 or 25.
Slams the axe into you, and you try to block it with both of your swords, cutting into an X pattern, but it pushes through into your shoulder, almost knocks you down, but you kind of lean up against Ball for a moment as you push back through, standing up, keeping your feet. And that will bring us up to Ball.
Seeing us kind of suddenly surrounded, I'm going to look to Kalvyn and Addison and say, and just kind of like yell out, like, one at a time, and try to, and kind of like, with my sword looking at them, and then with my sword kind of point at the one in front of me. And before I do, I'm going to grip my holy symbol and try to say that prayer that I said before, that I noticed kind of have some effect on my sword, and I'm going to use Divine Favor. Which is supposed to, it gives me an extra 1d4 radiant damage on a hit.
Okay. Yeah, and as you say that prayer, your sword kind of envelops in this dimly glowing gold and silver light. Sort of reminiscent of how Kalvyn's weapons are. Different color, different technique, but it envelops as you attack.
I'm gonna attack here. 13.
And is that against number 4 in front of you?
Yeah, number 4 in front of me.
That just barely hits as you come down upon him. He tries to push it away, but you dig through the armor.
So it's 6 slashing and 2 radiant.
The heavy strike hits hard and almost kind of brings the orc to its knees, but it gets back up. And are you going to stay there?
Yeah, I don't think I have much. I don't feel like taking an attack of opportunity here. So I'll probably just stay here.
Okay, so staying there, that brings us up to George, your character.
All right, so I don't want him to break any more of my stuff, so I'm just going to do a 5-foot step to there, and I'm going to try and stab him.
Okay, go for it.
So that is a 13.
That'll just barely hit.
Great. How do I make it do damage? There we go. 9 piercing.
Okay. As you shift over quickly in the snow, quicker than he's ready for, your strike is already halfway through as he begins to dodge for it far too late. As you strike into his lower abdomen as high up as you can reach, drawing it out, there's a splatter of blood that goes across the snow in an arc, with some of it splattering across the right side of your face as well.
And how does he look?
Not super great, actually. You may have pierced all the way through into his internal organs.
Great. I'm going to action surge and hit him again.
Go for it.
Damn it.
Oh, just barely. You see the wound and you strike back for it again. This time he's ready for it as he takes the hilt of his great axe and uses it to knock your blade away, the strike failing.
All right, well, I'll just stay there.
And that will bring us up to you, Kalvyn. Down in the bunch with Ball, there's an orc right next to you.
I wish I had like a rage ability. I should have taken Barbarian. I'm gonna shift forward, and kind of ignoring number 2, just kind of try to do a flurry of blows towards number 4.
Okay.
With my swords. Just kind of Dridden or whatever the hell his name is. Oh shit. Well, my first attack is a 8, I believe.
That'll
Yes,
miss.
an 8.
Yeah.
The other one is a 5.
Do you say 25?
Yeah, the second attack is.
Yeah, the second one hits. Yeah, as the 2 flaming swords light the way for your strikes. The first one he ducks under. The second one comes from beneath, dealing.
That's 7. That's 11 slashing. 4 of it's fire, and then 7 slashing, so 11 total.
Okay. You see, as you strike in with that second one, the flame searing and boiling the blood upon the impact, you withdraw it as the blood flies out, hitting you and Ball in the face, dyeing the snow. As the orc begins to fall back, there's a moment where he hits the snow and is still for a moment before the head bobs back up and the eyes open up once more. I'm just barely hanging on. And do you want to stay where you are, Kalvyn? I think you did a 5-foot shift, actually.
I did a 5-foot shift, so.
Okay. And that will bring us up to this one in front of you, George, who's going to come down with his great axe. A 10 as he fludges and misses, you just ducking under it. As Melly, you see Kalvyn bring one down, knocking him to the ground, but you see his head bob up, slowly rising once more. What would you like to do?
I would like to run forwards. I'm going to try and shocking grasp it.
Sure. Which one? The one right in front of you?
Yeah, this one.
Okay. Yeah, you can rush forward. Gonna give me a straight attack.
22?
That'll hit.
That's 4 damage, and it can't take reactions. So I'm going to use the rest of my movement to run over here.
Okay, the classic strike and then high behind ball. As you run forth, using your wand to conjure the electricity in your hand, releasing it forward, striking into him and enveloping his form, his muscles unable to move briefly as you shift over behind ball. And that will bring us over to...
I've got to go.
You got to go. Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you for joining us, Katie, as always, and we will see you next time. And I'll Jaeger you, I guess.
Have fun.
All right.
Bye, guys. Don't die.
Good night, Katie.
Bye, Melly.
Good night.
All right. So as Melly shifts over there, that's going to bring us up to the one in front of Ellery. He's going to step over her, and it's going to come right up against Kalvyn.
I'm going to, as I guess if he's making a weapon attack, I'm going to incur my blood curse on him. He's going to take a disadvantage on this attack. And
That's
I'm
good,
going to take...
He rolled a 18.
That's awesome.
The second one is a 13, which brings it up to 19 total.
Gonna die again, guys.
Please.
That's another hit. I did take 1 point of damage, so he has disadvantage on his next attack as well.
On the next one, okay, amplified it. What does that look like as you do this blood curse? Because he's bringing the weapon over his shoulder.
It's more like a defiant roar. Like he kind of shifts, like kind of leans forward, and kind of presents himself in a like "come at me, Bo," but it's like.
Okay. For a second, this quarter orc looks full orc, just as these others in this visceral, feral roar. As the other one, bringing the great axe over his shoulder, shudders for just a second before bringing it back down. But he did roll low on his damage. That's 5 slashing damage. But boy howdy, he's going to try it again at disadvantage because he's slightly, for the moment, frightened. That is 15 to hit.
That's the sweet spot.
Okay, just barely. This time it's 8 slashing damage.
I am downs.
Slamming it into Kalvyn. You do have your racial ability.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna use relentless endurance to stay up for one more
Okay. As he slams it into almost the center of your chest this time, you start to lose grip on your swords, but grip them back once more, standing up, face to face with this creature. And that will bring us up to Vesper. You can see Kalvyn almost go out, but remain standing. What would you like to do?
Number 2 still can't take reactions, so I'm going to rush past them to Ellery. Yeah, fuck it. I'm going to Cure Wounds. Cure Wounds her.
Okay. Reaching down, the holy divine energy of gold and silver extending from your holy symbol, flowing through Ellery as Ellery, you blink open once more on your back in the snow.
That is a 7. Heal 7 points.
Thank you.
And that's all I can really do this turn.
Do you want to stay where you are?
Yeah, I'll hang out there. I'll just draw my rapier and get ready.
Okay, drawing your rapier. What do you have in your other hand? Your holy symbol?
That's around my neck, so I think I'm going to pull out one of my daggers out of like a boot because I bent down to heal Ellery, and then as I stand up, I pull.
You can only pull one out with an interaction, but you can pull the rapier out if you prefer that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
For now.
So you got the rapier out for now. That brings us up to Amson. You have an orc in front of you.
Okay. How easy is it to see Kalvyn?
Not. He's there, but you can't really see him or really target him.
If I move north just a little bit, will it be easier?
It doesn't help a whole. What are you trying to do?
Healing word.
I'll say yeah. If you step forward, you can probably see him enough to be able to try that.
Okay, I'm gonna take a 5-foot step forward. As a bonus action, I'm gonna cast Healing Word on Kalvyn.
So Kalvyn, just coming to consciousness, you hear Amson's words of encouragement as your wounds.
That is a 6 points of healing.
Feeling invigorated to continue the fight.
And then as my action, I am going to, sure, let's go for a rapier with the rapier attack at the guy that I'm standing next to.
Okay.
Stab his ribs.
Yeah, you can do that. Pulling out your rapier, stabbing forth towards his ribs. Attack roll.
Ugh, gross. That is a that's an 11.
As you do so, she sees you shifting tactically, and as you do step up there and move forth with the rapier, she easily kind of steps to the side of it, using the head of her axe actually to block the rapier. It bends against its force as you withdraw it.
And that's my turn.
Okay. That would bring us up to number 4, who stands up, just barely conscious, and is going to try to grab at Ball. Make it an athletics or acrobatics check.
That's a 12 athletics.
Okay. As he stands up, even as he kind of gets to his feet, he almost tackles you with his weapons on the ground into your waist, and has you grappled and is basically going to shift you back as he pushes you forth. He's moving recklessly, though. Kalvyn, you get a chance to strike at him if you'd like.
We'll see. That's a 16.
That'll hit. Doesn't matter the damage. It's enough to end him. You just swing out your sword. What was that, Michael?
Oh, I'm just saying it's at least 2 for the 2 die. I forgot about this. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, all you needed to hit was 1. So as he's shoulder into Ball's waist, pushing him back, he moves forth. And as he does, you just go for his open back, striking into it. You feel it hit the spinal cord and withdraw it as he goes limp, falling onto the ground. And you have 1 down. Amson, that brings us up to the one that's right in front of you, who's actually going to turn and try to strike for you.
Okay.
Natural 19. That's a 20-something.
Yeah, that hits.
That is 6 slashing damage, and make a strength saving throw.
Great. Let's use this one. 1.
Okay, as you are knocked prone onto the ground, as that happens, she's going to step forward and begin to run around Ball. You get an attack of opportunity, Ball, if you'd like to take it.
Absolutely. That'll be a 16.
That'll hit.
For 8 damage plus 2 damage.
She pays dearly for this reckless movement as you strike into her with the great sword, severing painfully into her arm. In her arm and shoulders, the strike almost lifts her off of her feet for a moment, her feet coming back down in the snow as she rushes around you, getting to the other side, circling around you. And that will bring us up to Ellery. You're currently conscious on your back. You see Vesper kind of leaning over you, rapier in hand.
Okay, so I'm going to get up and move back about as far as I can, which is 15 feet. And then I am going to... I'll cast Acid Splash at the 2 that are next to Kalvyn. And they need to make dexterity saving throws.
That is a 15 for red and a 14 for the other one.
They both make it.
Okay. So you conjure up this sphere of acid, throwing it forth as it explodes, and acid kind of goes everywhere. The larger one in the plate mail kind of turns his shoulder to it as it splashes, dissolving some of the metal, but doesn't seem to get to him. As the other one just kind of leans back as it splashes over a little bit over the front of his chest, burning into the furs, but not enough to actually get to him. Is that your turn?
Yeah, that's it.
That'll bring us up to this one, actually. Who's going to... It's a new round. Kalvyn, have you used your reaction for this turn? You would possibly get...
No, I used it for the last one.
Okay. You get another chance to do so.
Oh, wait, no, I did. I killed number 4 with my reaction.
Okay, so this one just rushes around behind you and is going to attack you. So natural 20 without even the advantage. And that is 13 slashing damage as he comes from behind you, distracted by the larger one in plate in front of you as he comes from behind into your back.
That's awesome. I'm going to take a nap.
Okay. As your eyes shrouded in black, as there's a numbness to your legs before you are knocked unconscious. And that will bring us up to you, Ball.
Just to clarify, because I always forget this, 5-foot step doesn't incur attack of opportunity, right?
Yeah, no attack of opportunity, but it's instead of your normal movement, it's reduced to 5. So you're moving defensively, essentially.
So I will 5-foot step towards Kalvyn.
Okay.
Look at him and say, I guess or just under my breath, say, "Not this time." And then I'm going to put in 9 points of lay on hands into him.
Okay. As Kalvyn, almost before you even fully sink into the snow, your eyes widen as you see a big hand upon your chest, and you see the silhouette of Ball over you, blacking out the stars behind him.
And I don't think I can do anything with the bonus action to kind of try to pick him up.
You wouldn't be able to. You can kind of stick your hand out in narrative, but not enough to actually lift him.
Okay, yeah, so maybe narratively, after I do that, you just, I'm still kind of gripping your hand, trying to help you up.
Okay. And that'll bring us up to you, George, your character. As you're standing by this heavily wounded orc.
All right, I'm going to try and stab his ankles.
Okay, you go for his ankles. You see actually part of organs are beginning to spill out of the wounds you left, and that definitely hits.
16, awesome. So 5 piercing damage.
He's on his last leg. As you tear into one of his ankles, you actually cut the Achilles tendon. He struggles and almost falls down and is kind of limping on one leg, still facing you. Toss. And he's kind of beginning to chant something. You're not sure what he's chanting. You want to stay where you are, or shift, or move?
Nah, I'm just going to stay there.
Okay. That brings us up to Kalvyn. You're on your back between two orcs. Ball is right next to you. His hand reached out for you.
I guess I will take his hand and stand up using whatever action that takes in this.
It's just half of your movement speed, so you still have 15 remaining. As you stand up, he kind of grabs the front of your armor and helps you up as you stand up between two orcs.
I will shake off my second death, third technically, maybe, and how bad is number 2?
He's worse than the one in front of you.
I'm going to swing the first attack at number 2.
Okay.
That's the dirty 20.
That'll definitely hit.
Where's that?
You strike around with the hunting sword.
That is +4, so 7 slashing, and 4 fire for a total of 11.
As he too falls back onto his back, but his eyes start to blink open again.
I'm going to take another swing at him before he gets up.
With advantage since he's on the ground.
Okay, that's 19.
That definitely hits.
19 + 6.
And you only need to hit one, so he lays on his back into the snow and starts to blink open, and before he's able to start to get up, you drive the second one into his gut. Into the snow, driving him back into the ground. That one's dead.
And I curse at him in Orcish, stay down.
Okay. And are you going to stay where you are?
I'm going to shift to the left one.
You don't have enough to 5-foot shift. You do have movement. You can move there, but
I lied. I'm going to stay comfortably where I am. And
you turn to face the other one.
Up against the ball.
Okay. And that will bring us up to... I think this guy that's already dead, actually. Nope, not that guy. To, I believe, the one in front of George is just barely conscious. Yeah, he's going to go for you, George, your character in the snow. Hard to see. And that is make sure I get it right. That is a 18 to hit.
That'll hit.
14 damage.
Jeez. Okay. That sucked.
It's a big axe. You've been dodging, ducking, and he's been barely cutting into you here and there or missing entirely. This one lands center mass. Go ahead and make a strength saving throw if you're still conscious. As you're knocked to the ground into the snow, and you're almost like up to your neck in snow at this point because he drove you into it on your back.
Great.
And that will bring us up to Melly, who's going to do something. She has none of her spells, but I'm pretty sure she has Ray of Frost. So we're going to do this, which is equal to her attack roll. She strikes out at disadvantage. This is a Ray attack. As she strikes out Frost towards the one behind her, just missing. And she's going to just 5-foot shift over here. And that'll bring us up to the red one in front, who's going to attack towards Ball. A 9 to G Ball.
Just barely misses.
Okay, so striking towards you, you shifted over to the side with your sword. He's going to bring the other one towards Kalvyn, which is a 14.
That misses, sir.
Just barely misses. You just at both of you, and you're both able to duck and parry it aside with these 2 attacks. This one's bleeding a little bit, but not much. You can tell he's pretty tough. That brings us up to Vesper.
Okay, has Red's taken damage, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna toll the dead then.
Okay, con save?
Wisdom.
13.
That will just make it. Damn it. Okay, and then I'm gonna pull a dagger out of my sleeve.
Okay, you have the rapier in one hand, casting the spell in the other, pulling the dagger out in your other hand. And are you gonna stay there?
I am going to stay there.
Okay, and that brings us up to Amson.
Okay. So now that I can see her again, still on the ground, I'm going to cast Vicious Mockery on number 1 down there. I believe that's the one that attacked me, so...
That is a wisdom save?
Yeah, wisdom save.
12 plus 0.
Yes! Fail. So, in the snow on the ground, I'm going to look at... It's a female?
It's a she, correct.
It's a she. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to look at her, and I'm going to say, you must be really sad that growling and looking tough doesn't fix stupidity.
You say these words, and she looks at you, like tilting her head to the side, still snarling, not really understanding what you're saying, but it hurts her to her core. It reminds me of her when she was a little orc. Being yelled at, scolded.
That's 4 points of psychic damage. And she has disadvantage on her next attack.
Okay.
I'm gonna... And then, as my movement, I'm gonna, to make this narratively cool, I'm gonna do, a reverse somersault and go 15 feet back.
Give me an acrobatics check.
Sure.
Please, natural 1.
You land on your neck.
That's not a natural 1, but it's a total of 9.
You try to, and you end up just kind of arcing your back really far, and then you kind of give up and you stand up like a normal person.
Okay, whatever. And then, so Vicious Mockery is my action. As my bonus action, I guess I will inspire, use my last inspiration. And I guess I'll inspire... Yeah, I'll inspire Ball again for the second time today. This is a really old one. You've got a friend in Ball. You've got a friend in Ball. When you're fighting that big Valrin and you're miles and miles from your cabin, you just remember who your old pal is. Oh, you got a friend in him.
Awesome. I like that one. It's 1d6, right?
Yeah, you have 1d6. Your resolve in this fight is continuing. And that brings us up to number 1, actually, to her. You see her kind of looking over at you as you stand up singing, confused, and is going to yell over towards the other one. Everyone that doesn't speak Orcish just sounds like guttural noise, but she yells over, I'm running. I'll meet you at Ustax. And she begins to take off. She gets a few feet before she yells over her shoulder, unless you die first. And she just begins running off the map, basically. Yeah, she can get off the map, actually. She can double dash, essentially.
For those proper pronouns, does Ustax sound the same in Orcish as it does in Common?
Yeah, for that one, you assume it's probably an Orcish word. Yeah.
Okay,
works like names.
Something related to Stronghold Ustax that I'm supposed to go to, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, you could probably hear that word sticking out as the only one you understood.
Okay, all right, cool.
So that orc, the female orc, heavily wounded, barely remaining conscious, just darts off into the trees, disappearing behind trees. That brings us up to Ellery. There's one in front of you, and you still hear fighting going on behind you as well.
So I am, just to make sure everybody knows, I'm going to yell out, she's running for Ustax. And then I am going to cast Chaos Bolt at the big one.
Okay. And what does that do?
So this is interesting. I'll make my attack roll first to see if I can actually do it.
Okay.
Which I think I do. So that's going to be a 22 to hit.
That'll hit.
And then it gets a bit weird.
Oh, you have to roll for the damage?
Yeah. I've got my chart handy.
Okay, so you conjure up a undulating, warbling mass of chaotic energy, stringing it towards him. It does smash into him, and he takes...
So he takes... Let me count this up. 8, 12...
2d8 plus 6 damage, or 1d6.
He takes 18 points of... Let's make this thunder damage.
Thunder damage? 18. Holy shit. Okay. So as you slam into it, it hits into his back, and as soon as it hits into his back, there's a... Sounds like the loudest thunder crack right in front of you. Sounds like the lightning bolt that slammed into Vesper, into her lifeless body. As it slams in, the thunder erupts, and you can see actually the metal on his back actually warps from the sheer sound and the force of it. He kind of shifts forward a little bit towards Kalvyn, but remains on his feet. Do you want to stay where you are, Ellery?
I am staying where I am, yes.
Okay, and that will bring us up to you, Ball.
Well, I'm going to deal with this guy in front of us, so I'm going to just try to swing at him. So taking my greatsword out again, pointing it at him, and then I'm going to try swinging with an 8. I don't think even if I use inspiration that's going to do much, so I'm just going to tuck my tail between my legs and miss.
Okay, so and as you do, he brings up his axe and actually takes the handle and slams it into yours. For a moment, you're still taller than him by a good 2 feet or so, but you're locked in weapons with his work as he blocks your strike.
Okay.
Unless you want to move, that's going to bring us up to George, as your character is face down in the snow, I believe. Still conscious, though.
Yes. So I'm going to go ahead and stand up.
You get to your feet in the snow, turning around, you see he's barely hanging on, clutching his gut wounds as the intestines are falling out.
All right.
Drops the axe to the side as he pulls out a javelin, as he can't lift the weapon with 2 hands.
I'm going to try and pull those guts out a little bit more. That's not going to do it with a 10. So I'm going to bonus action to second wind and hopefully not die. And then I'm just going to kind of call out, little hand here, help.
So yeah, as you strike and miss, and you kind of breathe in, getting in a second wind of invigoration, trying to hang on during this fight. You call out. The rest of you do hear this voice call from the north. And that will bring us up to Kalvyn, standing in front of the plate-mailed work.
Okay, I'm assuming I can't shift diagonally to move right here, correct? I can only go there.
You to the left, you could do that.
I can go here?
Oh, no, you couldn't do that, yeah, because that'd be crossing through his corner.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to make sure. I'll shift over there and tackety-tack.
Okay, you're going to make an attack roll.
At 19, so 25.
Yeah, that'll hit.
Is he looking bad? Well, screw it. I'm just going to try to do
He's
both
starting
attacks.
to.
That's a 13.
That will miss. The second one strikes into his metal armor to no avail, can't get cut through. But the first one does hit.
Okay, he's going to, with this first attack, just kind of like leap up off the ground and kind of just bring his sword down. And his momentum. Oh, shit. I rolled snake eyes, y'all. That's 1 point of fire damage and 5 points of slashing.
Okay. Still 6, though. As he's kind of prepared to guard against both you and Ball, but as you jump up into the air, he's not prepared for that as you come down with the sword, striking into his neck area, getting around the shoulder pauldron, finding flesh. You see he's starting to be worn down. He's not going to last too much longer here. Do you want to you've shifted, you've attacked, bonus action, anything else for you?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay. That's going to bring us up to the one in front of you, Wink, who's going to strike at you with javelin. That is a 20 to hit.
Yeah, that'll hit.
And that is 6 piercing damage as he strikes into you, and make a strength saving throw if you're still conscious.
I am.
And a 16. Okay, so he strikes into you with the javelin. It pushes you back a foot, but as he withdraws it, you manage to stay on your feet. As he withdraws the weapon, you can see he's locked eyes with you in this blood fury. You can tell he actually takes the other hand away from the guts. They spill out. You can see the recognition on his face that he's not going to make it out of this alive, but he's going to take you out first. And that will bring us up to Melly, who's going to just shoot a ray of frost at that guy. Let's see if she can hit. She strikes as the ray of frost goes towards the plated larger orc as he ducks under the ice, goes by and actually almost goes right for you, Ellery, but you're able to duck over to the side, missing you. And that brings us up to him. He is going to
save. Yeah. Does he need to roll a saving throw?
No, it's actually an attack roll on her part, but her attack roll modifier is the same as her intelligence save. So that was just doing that because she doesn't have it set up on her sheet. So just to work around.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good.
Trying to find every loophole we can.
5-foot shift for this guy in plate as he steps back defensively with his axe in front of him, pushing Ball away with the locked weapons. He's going to shift over there, and he is going to turn and begin bolting. Just through the snow, rushing away from you all. And that's going to bring us up to Vesper as you see this heavily armored orc just rushing northward.
Okay, where did I hear the cry for help?
From the north.
Okay, well, fucking awesome then. I guess I'm going to run north. Sure, I'll dash. I can't see jack shit. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Oh, God, okay. So that'd be 20. 25, 30. Hello.
Okay. As you rush forward, you run into a sudden boulder in front of you. You turn back, shifting, trying to get to the noise, and you see right next to you, you see this orc that's just rushing and looks over at you, surprised.
And I'm going to ready for my next round, but that's all I can do this time.
Okay, so you have the rapier and dagger out as we come up to Amson.
Okay. I'm gonna let the other one be in the hands of everybody else, especially after seeing Vesper run literally the exact same direction as the other orc. So yeah, I'm gonna move up in that direction, and then I'm going to I'm gonna go with Vicious Mockery again.
Okay. A natural 14 total.
Ah, damn it. If only I had like a -2. So yeah, that doesn't work. I don't have anything else. That's unfortunate. So I'm just going to use the rest of my movement to run up to him.
Okay, so catching up to him. That's going to bring us up to, you can no longer see her, but you can hear her darting through the woods. And it goes on for a little while longer until the noises closer to you of this remaining orc or two is louder than whatever her running is as she disappears into the forest. And that's going to bring us up to you, Ellery.
All right, so I'm just going to cast Firebolt at the big one that's running away.
Okay, he's going to have some cover between your two allies there. You can certainly do so.
Yeah. Oh, that is a natural 1. So
roll another d20 for me. Just a straight d20.
Okay. 5.
Okay. The flames, but in your attempt to not hit Amson or Vesper, you aim a little too high, and it kind of goes over his head. He kind of ducks a little bit as it goes over the top of his mohawk, maybe singeing the top.
And I guess I am also going to run up in his direction, but not as far as the others have. Just 20 feet towards him.
Okay, rushing up towards him as he is running north. There's now 3 that have kind of started to catch up to him. That brings us up to Ball, as Amson, Vesper, and Ellery have darted north.
I'll look to Millie and Kalvyn and say, we can't let them both escape. And then I'll try to run forward to only one that's like still remotely within my sight. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. I still don't see it, so I'll use my action to keep moving. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. I don't think I see it. Okay, well, that's the end of my turn.
Okay. As you're rushing forward, that brings us up to George, your character.
All right. I'm going to keep on trying to kill this thing. 13.
Just barely hits.
So 8 piercing damage.
So you strike into him, and you see his eyes flicker as he begins to fall back, as he leans up against the destroyed crate, falling into it. For a moment, you see still, and then you see from within the crate, you see his hands just wrap around the two sides of the destroyed crate and begin to pull himself out.
All right, and then I'm just going to 5-foot step back and kind of look at the people behind me and hope that they start seeing me.
You can hear and actually see the charging of a number of individuals, including the heavily armored orc, with a number. That brings us up to you, Kalvyn.
That was a little creepy. So I'm gonna move where I can. As I come running up, shit, there's no way I can get a good shot off on this. Is there any way I can get a shot off realistically?
You can try to get a shot off, but he's gonna have a heavy cover bonus.
Just get up there next to Amson.
Okay, so you rush forward, try to get a shot off, but see there's none there as you just continue to dart forward, almost catching up to him. Is that your turn?
All she wrote.
All right. With only 2 remaining, one trying to escape, you all stampeding after him. The one that was crashed in front of you, George, your character, in the crate, he grabs and lifts himself out, his arms shaking at the weight as he gets to his feet, grabs his axe that's stuck in the snow, and is almost pulling it out of the snow, is going to go into a flourish of an uppercut with the axe. Straight. And that is a natural 2, so he... snow and stained blood from you and him from when you've been fighting flies into the air, into your face. For a moment you can't see, but nothing hits you as the red snow kind of falls back down as you see him, axe in hand, prepared to go after you.
I pee a little.
And that brings us up to Nellie, who's just going to run, basically. And that's going to bring us up to him. So she's going to get up here. Seeing all this, he's going to attack Vesper. That is a 21.
Oh, yeah, that does it.
And that is a 10 slashing damage.
Okay.
And if you're still conscious, make a strength saving throw.
I am. That is not going to do it. That's a 2. Oh, no, that's 12. I'm sorry. No, I'm using my clear dice. I couldn't see the 1. It is 12.
Even still, he slams into you, and you are knocked back onto your back into the snow. He's going to turn aim for Vesper. That one's only a natural 2, so that one's not enough. As he swings towards you, you duck out of the way, leaning backwards as he kind of follows the momentum of his axe and runs. Amson and Vesper, you both get attacks of opportunity. Vesper, yours is at disadvantage.
Yeah.
Finally a good roll. That's a 23 to hit.
That'll hit.
13.
Vesper, yours will miss.
Unfortunately, that's only 4 points of piercing damage.
Okay. As you strike into him, aiming for the crack that's been revealed by the thunderous energy that slammed into the back of his armor. Vesper, you try to hit him and you just hit into his shin, the plate on his shins, unable to get through. He's still up, and so he's going to continue. He's going to get right up to here, Wink. And Wink, you actually get an attack of opportunity if you want to take it on this one, because he's just running by you.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay.
Short sword.
That'll hit.
9 piercing.
For a moment, you see him go down as you strike into his legs, is what you can reach. You strike through, getting through the back of his knee as he trips, falls, tumbles on the snow. You see him roll to a stop before he suddenly gets up, his arms flailing all around, reaching, trying to find his axe before he gets up. He's conscious, but just barely.
All right.
And that will bring us up to you, Vesper.
Okay, I'm going to get up and go 5, 10, 15, and I can just barely see him. He's still prone, right?
Yeah, he's still knocked prone.
Then I'm going to Sacred Flame this motherfucker, and he's got to make a dex save.
Okay, a disadvantage. Not good. I don't think that's going to make it. That is a 7.
Yeah, no. For only 1 radiant damage, but that's all I need.
Yeah, that's enough. As he's struggling to find his axe and lift up, you can see as he's running, his eyes in fear wink as you strike him. You hear words behind you, guttural for you, but Amson and Ellery, you can hear the remaining orc before this light comes down, just kind of yell, "Coward," as the light comes down. From you, Vesper, coming down, parting through the sky. At first is like a star that glows bright, slamming down into him before he's able to get up. That one.
And that was a cantrip. Can I still use a bonus action to cast a spell?
Yes.
Then I am going to Healing Word this strange small creature that I see fighting this other orc.
You see this short, gray-skinned creature.
Muy bien. That is 7 plus 2, because I always forget Disciple of Life. So that's 9 health back.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And that is going to bring us up to Amson.
Okay, so I'm going to move up past Vesper. How's this other orc looking?
Barely hanging on.
Oh, okay.
Guts are literally falling out of his stomach. You see the intestines.
Well, in that
he's
case,
staring at the little creature in front of him.
I would like to viciously mock him. Yes.
How do you want to do this?
Let's see how. I'm gonna walk up to him, a little bit annoyed, based off of everything that's gone on, and I'm going to yell at him. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna yell at him. Everyone who has ever loved you was wrong.
That's vicious.
As you
ouch!
As you see him towering over this little gray-skinned creature in front of him, you see him pulling up his axe over his head to try to put this wounded creature in the ground. And as he does, you call out and say this, and you see his head tilt to the side, and you can see he was willing to die in this moment. You can see that he was willing to fight to the end. And as he raises his axe above his head, you see the last bit of fight in him die out. Whatever fate he had in battle and finishing to the end dies. And he just drops his weapon as he kind of looks around to the ground, looks up at you, Amson, and then at this creature in front of him as he grows pale and falls backwards into the fire. You hear this as the embers burn up on his skin. He's unmoving.
He also has disadvantage on his next attack.
Just to put the nail in the coffin. The rest of you rush up into this camp. There's blood everywhere, all over the snow, from your own wounds and from the wounds of these orcs. Looking around, it's night, but not far after nightfall. You see there's just a light snow falling and just a little bit of wind that shakes the branches of the trees. As you see this campsite with the fire in the center, with the current dead bodies singeing the embers upon it. And you see a bursted cage, and next to it a net full of various gear and trinkets and weapons. And you see this creature in front of you. George, do you want to describe your character?
Okay. He's roughly 3 feet tall, blue-gray skin with pointed ears. He's got a little tuft of white hair that looks kind of balding, and the hint of white scruff on his chin. Simple leathers, and he kind of just puts a short sword on his shoulder and waves. Hi there. Thanks for the assist. Didn't really know how I was going to get out of that.
Right.
Yeah, I forgot to mention with all the distraction that they had a captive.
Okay. Well, you're welcome.
Wow, you're a interesting bunch. I'm Link. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Wink. My name is Amson Armsblossom.
Vesper Fidelis, the Fallen.
The Fallen?
Shut up.
You never told me that.
I'm Ellery. What the fuck are you doing out here?
That ain't your name.
Might as well be.
Well, I was doing research, mostly. But then I ran into them. They had another captive, but I think they might have eaten her while I was asleep. I'm not really sure.
Okay.
She was here when I got knocked out, and she wasn't when I woke up.
Well, that's unfortunate.
What are you all doing here?
I look at Ball.
Think of us as glorified delivery people for now.
Oh, that's interesting. While you were out here, have you seen any blinking cats?
Look at
Blinking
Vesper.
Cats. Wait, like those ones we saw years ago?
It's been a while.
Not important. We can get to that later. Is everybody all right?
Actually, it's a great question.
Yeah,
How is
how's everybody looking?
I'm hurting.
I've been way better, but then I've also been way worse. So,
I'll healing word, Kalvyn.
Did you die though, Kalvyn? Did you die though?
That's a whopping 4 for Kalvyn.
Sweet. Are you seriously being sassy?
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, okay, that's fine.
I'll help you out. Don't worry about
That's
it.
fine. Ballin'.
He gives her stink eyes.
Stick out my tongue.
You're such
Cut that
children.
tongue right out.
While everyone's kind of like checking on everybody else, as Ball, I'd like to run over to that orc leader looking guy. Is there like, it looks like there's some trees here, so I want to drag him to one of the trees, take out my thick rope and just tie him around it, and then use my last point of lay on hands to bring him back.
Yeah, you can do that. You drag him over to that tree, tie him down, and heal those wounds. You see him slowly blink, his eyes open, as the others of you are arguing and talking to this new creature. Blink.
And then looking at the orc, I'm going to just, because I heard them say Ustax when that other orc was running, so I'm going to look at him and say, what do you know about Ustax?
And he spits at you. He just kind of lands on one of your legs or boots. Doesn't get far enough.
What did he say?
He said, "Fuck you."
We can make this real interesting, y'all.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over there.
Yeah, same.
I'll look to the party and say, does anyone understand him? It's not giant.
In Orcish, I'm going to say to him, yeah, fuck you too.
He looks at you and just kind of smiles.
Well, Ellery's making friends.
Do it. Get it over with, he says in Orcish.
Yeah, we don't need to say that. Nobody's gonna fuck you here.
Oh boy. Can I try something? Just because I really, 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 really want to do it.
Sure.
He has to make a wisdom saving throw as I cast Tasha's Hideous Laughter.
Natural 19.
Damn it. Alright. I'm not gonna say the joke then. I'll save it for when it works.
Is exhaustion ability checks and saving throws?
It's not saves, it's just checks.
Okay. I tried. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Go on, do it. As he's looking at the two who have spoken Orcish. What are you waiting for?
Paul will just kind of repeat himself and say, and like look to Ellery as well and say, "What do you know about Ustax?"
And I'm going to translate that.
You can see he's almost giving you the silent treatment. You can tell would rather die.
I don't think just questioning him is gonna work, y'all.
What are you suggesting?
I don't know. This ain't my rodeo. Y'all want to handle it your way, that's fine.
What's your way, Kalvyn?
Does anybody have a French tickler?
A what?
What the fuck?
Just some feathers, that's all I need.
Oh.
I'll dig into my entertainer's pack and take out the plumage of one of my hats.
Sure. Yeah, you have a Yankee Doodle Dandy hat. There's a feather right.
Yeah, I have like a gigantic hat with one of those massive, like 2.5 foot long feathers, and I just take that out of the hat and I give it to you.
You can see a very concerned look go across his face. He was ready to die, but he's not ready for whatever fucking weird shit this is.
This is what I want to do. I want to roll him over onto his stomach and kind of push his knees under his chest, under him.
He's
how was he tied up? I forgot.
He's tied up. I assume, Bald, that he's tied with his back to the tree and he's kind of sitting on his ass.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is going to be a little bit more difficult. Okay, well then...
Get that fucking thing away from me.
What's the matter? You scared?
And then I guess we'll start cutting off his pants, if that's a possibility. I heard wasn't metal before.
Plate armor.
Shit, well we got all night. We got all night, big fella. And he gives him a wink.
I am walking away.
Yeah, I'm gone.
I'm gone. Big money, no whammies. I rolled a natural 20. No shit.
Oh my god.
As you're saying this, you can also see Wink off to the side, who like digs out a book and starts like drawing or writing or something in this as he's watching. As you pull it out and begin to move forward, and he like kicks away and he tries to wiggle out of the rope, but he can't. Just, all right, fuck. What do you want? Just keep him away from me. As he tries to point as best as he can, looking to you, Ellery, as you start to walk away. Come back. Who sucks is a mountain. And so he starts nodding in the direction.
I keep walking in the other direction, but I'm listening to what he's saying.
Come back. And he closes his eyes and he just starts rocking.
Yeah, at this point I turn around.
Good prime.
I turn around, and I walk back, and I kind of shove Kalvyn out of the way.
Kalvyn looks disappointed.
And then say to the orc, all right, give it up. Tell me what you know.
You keep that pissy half-breed away from me. I'll tell you what you want. He glances at Kalvyn.
Yeah, and I push Kalvyn back behind me.
He looks relieved. but he's still blood is still trickling out. He's in horrible condition. All right, fuck. What?
So, tell us about Ustax.
Yeah, it's a stronghold. Northwest of here. A few days.
Why were you heading there?
Oh, we are bringing this shitbag back with us. Slave. He
To
kind of
whom?
looks towards the little creature, the gray-skinned wink.
Who are you taking him to?
I'm taking it to your Wamai. She's the Khan. If you want, I'll take you there.
So I repeat all of this to everybody else.
Does Jarl Wormai
Okay, so-
also sound the same in common versus orc?
There's an accent there for sure, but you can kind of listening out, you hear a bunch of words you don't understand, and then that kind of sticks out. You're like, wait.
Okay, so maybe I'll even interrupt it before you're totally finished and just and say, we need to meet Jarl Wormai. Do you know him?
Is that translated, I assume?
Yes.
Okay, as soon as you translate, he starts busting out laughing. Sure, yeah. And I'm gonna ride fucking dragons, sure. At
On
least,
the dragon?
I know. I'll Greek Otteron in a good humor. He's just laughing, coughing up blood a few times.
What's so
Can we
funny?
see insight?
Sure. Yeah, you can roll an insight.
That's a great insight. Let me see. Minus. Oh no, I get 4. That's a 23.
23. Currently, he looks like he's accepted his fate. He's glad that whatever feather business that was is not on the table, and he's just kind of waiting for himself to bleed out. And he just genuinely thinks it's funny that you would go meet someone like that.
In like what way? Like he's a fantasy character, or in a story, or
No. He thinks it's ridiculous that you think you're that important, or that you think you would even get that far. That's why he said, "Yeah, and I'll ride a dragon." Like you just named a seemingly
so this
impossible
is-
task in his eyes. Especially this one, and he nods towards the ball.
I'll say, because I guess part of this is lost in translation, so Ball's still kind of confused with what's so funny. And then we'll just be like, King Kald wants me to give him something. I don't know if that elicits any kind of response from him.
Assuming all this is translated, he kind of like, who the fuck is that?
I would know the name of his dad, right? Of King Kald's father. I assume when they came to kind of clarify what my task was.
Yeah, they would have told you how important the axe was, and so you know the name of the axe, and including Kald's father.
Okay, is the name of the axe related to, is that his father's name?
Yeah.
Okay. His father is Drawnbow. I assume King Drawnbow.
Translated, he starts to squint his eyes, and he spits out blood that he's kind of coughing up. Fuck him too, and fuck all your kind. As he looks at you, Ball.
I don't understand why he's so mad.
Yeah, maybe ask him what happened to the other girl. And there was this other old lady with them too, an orc one, but she looked different.
All right, so I translate that.
I don't fucking know. The soothsayers do what they will. They follow Zertrak, and he kind of snarls, wrinkling his nose up at it.
Is that
Alright, I've told you what you want. In this.
Does that sound familiar to Vesper, the Zertrak thing, or anything about soothsayers?
Make a religion check.
Oh, that's really good. That's an 18.
You think about that word as it's translated, and you try to go through the stories and hymns and scripture that you studied, and you know a little bit about the other religions, but that name doesn't ring a bell. And it's something because you know a lot even about other things besides Ayin, and this doesn't come up. Yeah, you would know a soothsayer is a seer or a diviner, fortune teller. It's just another word for that.
Do we
I
know?
can barely hear any of this anyways because I'm all the way across the fucking clearing.
Do we know the race of the Jarl?
You don't actually. Ball, you would have been informed, and I assume that Dia or Varys and some others that kind of know about the city would have informed you it's a heavily orc populated mountain. The Stronghold is a orcish territory, but you don't know exactly for sure what race. It was never actually mentioned.
That information would have been awesome before this combat.
Oops. I forgot to say that.
Facepalm.
How do we get to meet the Jarl?
Sure, we'll just walk into the camp, the war camp, walk past the blood pits, walk past the war wagon, through the walls, through the courtyard, through the mother's pits, and I'm sure you'll find the war room. He just starts chuckling with intermittent coughing.
Is there not an easier way?
He kind of squints at you and raises his hand, what he can, since he's tied down.
I don't want to have to kill you. I just want to meet the Jarl.
He kind of sticks his neck out. And I want to meet Bokor the Breaker. Bring him to me. He sticks out his neck, revealing it to you, as if saying, strike me.
I'm sorry.
I don't know. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm starting to come back over now.
Yeah. You all kind of be gathered around the general vicinity.
I don't understand. Is that your god?
He kind of nods. He nods at you. You can see he tries to lift his arm, but can't. But he kind of looks down towards his right hand, and you see wrapped around as a chain. You see a symbol on it. Looks like it has horns upon it. Looks like a bull's head.
I think I'll take out my holy symbol and say, Ayin is my god.
I don't give a shit. He tries to spit, but his mouth the blood kind of basically just drools down his chin. I care not for your giant gods. We've put your kind in the grave, and when you get there, we'll put you in the grave too.
What's the plan? Am I healing this motherfucker and he's going to be our guide, or?
I don't think that's going to work.
Well, whatever you have in mind, we're not doing it.
He's still holding the feather.
Kalvyn, before you use that, can I have it back, please?
I mean, do you need it?
I'd rather it not be... I don't even want to know what you want to use it for, actually. Can I please just have
I'll
it back?
pay you back. But you're no fun.
He'll trot over like a child that giving up their
Amson
favorite toy.
kind of half takes offense at that comment, but he'll let it go.
Kalvyn brings over the feather, and I assume hands it to you.
Put it back in my hat.
I don't think it will be as easy as I thought to bring this axe back.
Doesn't sound like it.
Maybe I'm not used to the rich and actually having wealth in that amount, but why would Kald spend a diamond on you to bring you back to life if he was just sending you off to die?
I didn't ask.
Well, clearly he chose Ball for a reason. It was as soon as Storm Dreamer mentioned that he was a half-ruined that Kald took interest.
So maybe if they hate giants so much, this is a slap in the face. Just the idea of sending a giant.
That's what I'm thinking.
So you're saying he's sending me to die again?
Maybe. Or at least to be offensive.
I'll look back at the orc and say, what do you think, follower of Bokor? Am I being sent to my death?
Does someone translate all of that? How much do you translate?
I just translate the last part that Ball directed at the orc.
Okay, is Ball being sent to his death? He nods.
Does he know the significance? Okay, does he know the significance of this axe and what a refusal or whatever this ritual is intended for? I guess I maybe should have asked him directly, as I do speak his language.
What axe?
That's what did we not relay this information?
Yeah, I'll pull
This
it down.
barbaric king, he's just going off. This barbaric king is like, hey, y'all need to take this axe to this Jarl. Y'all need to see his reaction. And his reaction will determine something, I don't know. And
a combination of Kalvyn yelling through the story and Ball withdrawing the axe. You can see he looks up at it and he kind of squints his eyes at it. And he kind of leans back, rescinded a bit. Well, I'm sure she'd be glad to see that. Maybe you'll make it to the war room after all. What do you want to know?
not just... Did I stutter? What is the significance of this bloody axe? Somebody give this man some water. I feel like we're getting in for some story time.
Yeah, right, okay. I start digging in my pack, and I'll pull up my water skin, and I'll start bandaging him up, too, while we're talking.
If you try to feed him water, he just spits it out.
Seriously.
Yep. A little bit on his head.
It kind of the blood kind of is washed down out of his mohawk and into his beard. Bushy black beard. He has a black mohawk. These bloodshot yellow eyes. 2 large tusks. He looks to you, Ellery. Got in the good stuff.
Anyone have any alcohol on them?
You know you do, Ellery. Don't be lying.
I don't carry the copper sail around with me wherever I go.
That's not a no, I don't have any alcohol. So you would do best to just lend us in some aid in this.
Kalvyn, I didn't bring
Ellery.
any with me.
Would I maybe have like a small, like one of those little itty tiny bottles like in one of my healer's packs? It's like a numbing antibacterial
Rubbing
thing.
alcohol.
Yeah, there's rubbing
Basically.
alcohol. Sure,
God.
there's rubbing alcohol.
I pull that out and I'm like,
Oh my god, you're gonna make him blind!
He drinks it.
Can I
Jesus.
insight check it? Right?
I assume, like, Vesper would know if it's gonna, like, kill the guy.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to give him a bunch. I'm just going to...
Okay. You give it to him, he drinks it. He drinks whatever.
Kind of alcohol.
Did I hear you say that you want to insight check me?
I did say this.
Roll an insight check. And then either persuasion or deception, you can whisper it if you want.
I didn't do it. You can't insight somebody when you roll 1. So F this and the A. A.
I don't actually know how to whisper that. How do I?
/W, but unless you roll a 1, I don't think it matters.
No, that was a dirty 20.
Okay, yeah, it seems like she's telling the truth. She didn't bring alcohol on a journey. But
I rescind my accusation.
The wielder of that axe came through these mountains before, through the Nohst mountain range. With Totha Wormai. She was but a child. They cleared out the stone giants, and your kind, looking at Ball, slaughtered them all with the axe. They left, went north. Totha stayed behind. That axe is the axe of her fathers. Used to cut down your kind. And so she made camp, stronghold who stacks on their graves, and used their own fort as our own camp. I imagine the axe of her father means something to her. Why anyone would send it to her, I have no idea.
Well, she must have a brother.
You can see his eyes are like glossing over now. He's kind of beginning.
Hell no, I'm patching him up.
He's beginning. You're patching up the wounds, but he's beginning to nod off.
Hey. I move a finger back and forth in front of his eyes. Stay with us.
If it seems like does it seem like he's kind of done his story?
Yeah, you can. It's hard for you to tell, Ball, but Kalvyn and Ellery, you can kind of hear it in his natural language. It seems he said as much as he knows. He doesn't seem like a scholar or anything. He's a guy with a big axe.
Let's let him get some rest.
I think that's all we're getting out of him. Tonight, at least.
I think beforehand, like before he actually nods off, Ball's going to ask him, would you rather go to Bokor, or do you want to see Wormai with us?
He lifts his hand, his arm up as best he can, and puts it in his lap, revealing the bull's head symbol on his wrist. Until he can barely move at this point. A combination of the wounds and the alcohol that he imbibed. And he tries to lift his head up to you. His eyes can't quite open, but he looks towards the sound of your voice, Paul. He tries to reveal his neck as best he can.
I think we should grant him what he wants.
I was just going to say that, actually.
We're just going to kill him. Seriously.
Vesper, he's a warrior. He's been a warrior his entire life. He literally worships it, I'm assuming. I don't know anything about this deity, but based on his behavior, the least that we can do is grant him that. I assume he expected for his death to be in battle, as a warrior should.
But if we let him go, he can fight another day, die another day. We don't have to kill him now.
In most tribal societies, it would be considered disrespectful for him to come back. If anything, we're probably dooming him to a life worse than death if we let him live.
Thank you, my little friend.
And he pats his little friend on the head.
If you're uncomfortable, I can do it.
No. I think we can handle it. You just keep on riding.
It is okay. He helped me. I will help him.
And as everyone is talking, I'm just walking away again. I'm going back behind the boulders.
I'll get up and follow Ellery.
Okay, you go by
Do whatever.
the boulders.
Do whatever.
And just, I don't know if Vesper sees this, but as soon as I'm behind the boulders, I'm just sitting down in the snow with my face in my hands.
Yeah, I'll sit next to her quietly.
Before you go up there, I'm gonna try and grab his axe and drag it into the guy's lap.
Okay.
Probably bigger than me.
I'll help you with that. That seems like a good idea.
Wink tries to drag it through the snow, but it's hard to move. But between Amson and Wink, you can kind of drag it through the snow, putting it in his lap.
As I step back, I'll nod at the orc.
You can see his eyes are barely open. He's doing his best to hold his neck up. And as you put the axe in his hand, he kind of grips it with the one hand that can still move as he looks up at you all. And just uses the last bit of strength he has to lift his neck back, revealing the jugular veins and the cuts and blood that drips down his beard.
I'll take out my holy symbol and kind of say a little prayer, and basically along the message of hoping that Ayin will take notice that he's tried to undo some of his sins, and that his god, Volkor, will welcome him with open arms when he sees him again.
Okay. And as you kind of say that prayer over him, with the last bit of air coming forth from his lungs before you strike, in Orcish for Kalvyn, who can probably still hear it, Ellery's a little ways away, he says, "The Khans will welcome me. My death comes without apology." And he flexes as best he can and grips his axe as best he can, waiting for the strike.
And then I'll strike with my sword.
You slice through and the neck, and there's this, as the head slops off, landing into the snow. 1-2 quick burst of blood that kind of pour out before the body leans over. And the hand loosens around the axe. And as you all stand in silence around this, thinking about what it might mean and what lies ahead, that's where we're going to leave tonight's session off. We'll pick up next week.